All right, and we are live. Thank you very much, everyone, for waiting patiently. So this is a discussion between myself and a individual by name of Betty. We're going to be discussing flat Earth versus round Earth, and I guess which model best comports with reality. Of course, one thing I do want to say first is that we're also going to use this debate as kind of a fundraiser for my buddy Gus, who's currently in the hospital dealing with some life-altering shit at the moment. The donation link is in the description. And throughout this debate, I'll also ask the moderators in the live chat to spam the ever-living fuck out of that link to donate as much as they can to help a friend out. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, Betty, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, perfect. So, do you want to start first or should I?
Well, I think I should introduce myself a little
Sounds good to me.
because we never spoken, and I saw you had a hangout previously, so you made a lot of fun already, and that's nice. And you made a kind of arrangement to have a translator. No, well, nice. I'm a flat earther, yes. In 2014 I saw a couple of vids on. I think it was from Eric Dubay. You know them all, I think. There were only three back then. And well, first I found it ridiculous, of course, and I laughed and I thought, wow, why should I click on this? It's ridiculous. And then I proceeded, and well, it made sense to me, and I wrapped my head around it, and it well, it comported with my reality at least. And yeah, well, it expanded from there because I listened to many hangouts where all the opposed people made their arguments, and well, I think I extrapolated a lot of information that well does not comport with a round Earth or a ball Earth. I don't feel that we are spinning, and well, that's it. And now I'm in a debate with you. Well, I think it's only because I responded to a couple of videos from my quantum eraser, John, and well, he made a couple of vids, and I saw him in the Hangouts, and he made a lot of sense to me. And the things that he said, and the things that he made clear that things weren't with science, the law of thermodynamics didn't add up with a vacuum next to a non-vacuum. So that's a couple of things that I well, made a lot of sense, and that's why I made comments also and wrote a little bit on his coattails, so to say. And well, and now I'm here because you have wanted to debate quantum eraser as well. But he's not wanting or willing to, I think, and that's his choice, and I know that, and I can understand why, because the previous hangout you had with all those yes men you have around you, well, it made me a little bit well, yeah. Why would you be so yeah, belligerent or violent? I don't have the words for it. So that's why I want to show up and I want to do this hangout, but I want you to be patient and a little bit, yeah, well, nicer than you were in the previous hangout. That's what I want to ask you. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Then I will say this. You show respect to me and I shall return it. And the reason why I'm getting frustrated and angry and also using a lot of profanity in the previous hangouts is because you know as well as I do that the previous hangouts I deal with Spirtismo and Jeranism and also a few people that I did on other hangouts like I think it was, I forget his name, but I believe his name was Bob. These people are extremely arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially they like to purposely fling their shit in people's faces. So what I like to do is take it and fling it right back at them, only twice as hard and with no lube, of course. But with that being said, I will say that if you show me respect, I will return it, and you will not see one curse word fall from my lips. I can turn that off because I have to every single day for my job. I talk to people. My job is talking to people. So
Yeah,
that
me
should
too.
be done.
Me
So
too.
with that being said, when I hear people say that they came to flat Earth after looking at the evidence, what I actually find when I talk to them is that it's not that they came to flat Earth from understanding the evidence, is that they came to flat Earth after misinterpreting the evidence. The evidence actually supports a round Earth, but just because a certain somebody doesn't understand how, quote, a vacuum can be next to a non-vacuum, end quote, therefore we need to jump to this conclusion that the Earth is somehow flat, or that science doesn't have the answer to that specific question. The fact of the matter is that just because you don't have the answer to this certain question, that does not mean that the answer does not exist. And furthermore, it may also be the case that when Quantum Eraser is bringing this up, he's bringing this up because he knows that other people haven't sought an actual answer to that certain question. I will be the first to admit that a lot of people simply take for granted the shape of the Earth being round. And I'll make this admission, before I actually started looking into this, I honestly did take for granted that the Earth was round. But when I started looking into it, but I looked at it in a more intellectually honest perspective, and I did the hard work of understanding the complicated mathematics that is around geometry, for example, and the actual law perspective, which is a mathematical equation, and doing the observations myself, all of a sudden, I didn't have to take it for granted anymore. I knew for a fact that the Earth was round. Everything comports with the round Earth model, and absolutely nothing comports with the flat Earth model. My goal here, my goal for this hangout, and see, laughing is the same type of disrespect that I will not do to you. So
Listen, I laughed because you almost wanted to curse. So that's it.
So
yes.
With that,
you have a little humor, don't you?
Very little.
Very little, yes. I understand.
So with this, my goal for this hangout is to ask you very basic questions. And I hope that by me asking you these questions and you mulling over the answers that you are to give, you come to the conclusion that it is in fact the flat Earth that has a lot going against it. Do you understand that?
Yes. Can I ask you a question as well?
Go ahead.
Yes. You're always talking about a model. Right?
Yes.
I never heard about the concept of a model when I talk here in Holland. When I talk about the Earth is flat and I confront people with things, and they never say to me, but the model says this and the model says that. So I was introduced through the many hangouts that I was in that models were used. And perhaps, maybe I don't understand really what you entail a model is. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Well, a model is simply the baseline in which I'm going to come from, and I'm going to see if the observations match. So, for example, in fact, the best way to give you an example is to ask the first question and to give the first problem that I see with the flat Earth model. Mm-hmm. You see what I did there? So is it okay with you if I just jump right on into it, and then you'll know what the concept is by a consequence of that? Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. Yes, please do.
Okay. So do you know how when a car is driving away from you, it will appear to get smaller in your vision?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is the law perspective. Now, if you want to know the math behind it, I'll give it to you. But for now, you know that when a car drives away from you, it will get smaller and smaller in your vision.
Yes.
This is true not only for a car, but for all objects. And I would argue that this would also be the case for the sun. Now, on the flat Earth model, in order for the angles to match what we see in the sky, flat earthers have correctly assumed that on a flat Earth model, that would mean that the sun would have to be about 3,000 miles above us and circling above the flat Earth model. So let's imagine we're looking at the sun during equinox over the equator. And as it goes around or as it hovers over the equator, I should say, to an observer at one side of the planet, they will see the sun approaching towards them. And then at the middle of the day, it'll be right on top. And then towards the end of the day, it will start going away from them. And that's what flat earthers assert is sunset. That's the sun moving away from you. But the exact same way that we see the car growing in angular size as it gets closer to you and then shrinking in angular size as it goes away, we should be seeing the exact same thing happening to the sun. And if you do the actual math on it, then what we find is this, that on a flat earth model or on a flat earth, we should see the sun rising at one angular size, growing to 4 times bigger midday, and then shrinking again to the size it was when it rose. And when we do actual observations using a solar filter and whatnot, so we can see the actual size of the sun as it appears in the sky, we see that the angular size of the sun did not change whatsoever. So my first question to you, Betty, is how does that make any sense whatsoever on a flat Earth?
Well, I've seen vids where that does happen, where the sun does get smaller.
Okay.
And I would say refraction.
Refraction.
Yes.
Okay. Now, on these videos...
And I would say that also observations, what you call observations tests, by the way?
Yeah, observations. When you go out into the field and you observe the phenomenon you're trying to measure.
But that's only the first step of the scientific method.
Yeah.
And what's your hypothesis on that? Then you automatically assume that because what you are seeing is not comporting with what you expect, and then the test is that we live on a globe. That's an easy assumption, I think.
No, I'm not.
Maybe there are many things that are going on there, and refraction is one of them.
Betty, you'll notice that I did not make the jump to a globe. I'm simply posing a problem I see with the flat Earth.
Yes, that is the model that I will have to defend, right?
Yeah, and so I'm asking you to defend your model. We'll come back to the globe because you are right. You have questions, and therefore the globe will need defending at that point. But let's just stick on the flat Earth for now.
Yeah.
If you're saying that refraction is what's causing the angular size of the sun to remain constant throughout the day, what evidence do you have to support that assertion?
What have you on the contrary? That's the same question.
That refraction is not actually happening. That's what I have on the contrary.
Okay, well, prove it.
You're saying
that through an hypothesis and a real test with independent and dependent variables.
No, you're the one that made the assertion here. I'm just telling you.
Made an assertion. You made an assertion that the sun would get smaller.
No, you said it was refraction. You said it was refraction. I'm asking you.
I said that we have to consider refraction.
All right, you can consider it, but my question is.
I never made a claim that it was a reality or not.
Okay,
I only said that I had made observation about videos that I saw that the sun would get smaller. That's the only thing I said, and I said that it was not a scientific experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you making assumptions for only an observation? That's what I'm not getting.
Okay,
because models. You said you use models, and you have various observations, right?
Betty, in order for me to answer the question, you have to actually let me answer it.
Yes, I'm letting you now.
Okay, good. Then, with respect, stop talking so I can. Okay, because what I'm actually trying to get at is this. If it were to be the case that the sun would change angular size throughout the day, then that would actually be a point for the flat Earth. But what we actually see when we do this observation in reality is that we see that the sun doesn't change in angular size, because you and I both know the law of perspective, or at least I'm assuming you know what the law of perspective entails.
Yes,
and so the first step is to agree, wouldn't you say, on whether or not the sun changes in angular size, and whether my observation was valid to begin with, or if your observation was most valid. So my question to you is this, to continue on with that, because the first step is observation, so we need to get that out of the way first. What video did you see that showed the angular size of the sun changing, and can you please present that here?
I think I saw one of Russian vids, and I posted the link in one of the...
I believe I may have seen that video, and I already know the problem with it.
Okay, I know it's only video.
Yes.
I didn't observe it myself, so I know, don't make a claim about it. None of it. So the only thing I can say that there is a lot going on with perspective and with refraction and atmosphere. So I don't think you can put it through the scientific method. And then it's not science to me. And then it has no validity to me. It's only a model. So because you say it doesn't comport with flat Earth, then so it is around Earth. No, that's not my assumption. It's yours.
No. I'm only stating an objective fact. The objective fact is...
And the objective fact is that we don't know what's happening in the distance.
No, we do know one thing for a fact. The one thing that we know for a fact is that the sun does not change in angular size throughout the day. And so if it is
the case... That's your assumption.
No, that is a fact. That is an objective fact.
And
that's not an assumption.
I say that you haven't put it through the scientific method. You only observed.
Yeah, I've observed the sun not changing.
And I observed something else, and therefore it's subjective.
Yeah, but unlike you, Betty, I actually have evidence of the sun not changing in angular size throughout the freaking day. Each of these pictures were taken 30 minutes apart through a P900, which by the way is the favorite camera of the flat earther, through a solar filter. The video that you're probably referencing was not actually measuring the actual size of the sun. It was measuring the glare that the sun produced because it was overwhelming the camera center.
There was no glare in that video.
I beg to disagree, but unless you actually show it to me, I can't say for fact. So well, if you can...
I don't have it on me now here, so that's... Oh, maybe I do or don't.
Maybe you do or you don't, or...
Yeah, well, I made some sort of link list that I could use, but I don't know if I have this on here. We'll check a little. Wait.
Okay. Let me show you this, just so that we're looking at the.
Well, I'm looking at something else. Wait a moment.
Okay. Tell me when you can see the screen again. My screen, I should say.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can see it again.
Okay, good. So I'm going to present to everybody so that everyone can see what I'm showing. So anyway, this was an observation I took, and you can actually look at the metadata of each of these individual photos. And, I mean, they even still have the stock photo name that the P900 gives it, Nikon or whatever. And you can see that these pictures were taken in the metadata 30 minutes apart, roughly 30 minutes apart. As we go through day, see, this is on the horizon. It's blocked by some trees, obviously. Nothing I could do about that. But as it goes through the day, I take pictures of the sun, one picture every 30 minutes. It was actually a good day in Florida for that. And what we see here is that the size of the sun in the frame does not actually change throughout the day. And again, this was taken with a P900 through a solar filter at max zoom. And there it is going, you know, down the other one, and there's the other horizon, of course.
How does that work? Explain to me, because if you zoom in, you make it bigger, right?
Yeah,
and then
but
it will eventually make up for the same size as you observe it above you, right?
Betty, if you take a picture of something and the zoom remains consistent throughout the day, then the only way it's going to change in angular size is if the object itself moves further away or not, correct?
Explain it another way. I don't
all right, let me just tell you my methodology.
Yeah.
For the P900, there is an option within the menu settings to turn off digital zoom so that you only use optical. To make sure that I was taking each picture at the same zoom level, therefore there was no difference from the camera's perspective or on the camera's perspective when it comes to zoom length, I deactivated digital zoom and zoomed out all the way for optical zoom only. So each picture was taken at the same level of zoom. That way I could see if there was any change whatsoever to the sun's angular size. And when I look at these images, and I look at these images throughout the day, we actually do not see that change that flat earthers say occurs. So we have some flat earthers saying it does change. We have you now saying that you've seen a video where it does change, but now it couldn't change. Essentially, I need a definite answer on here. If it is to be the case that the sun is changing angular size, please show me the observation that shows that. Otherwise, what we need is an explanation on how the sun could remain the same angular size for different observers all over the planet and yet be completely going against the law of perspective, which again works for a car, and the image of that car is also going through atmosphere.
Yes. Okay.
So what do we have from here? Do we have something that is supporting the flat Earth, or do we show another problem with the flat Earth?
Well, we don't know what the sun is exactly. To me,
what the sun is irrelevant.
Yeah, well, I think that's relevant, because if it's only gas or it is something else, you don't know what it is. So.
Okay, I'm gonna say that the sun is a big ball of unicorn farts. How does that change the fact that its angular size doesn't change?
Yeah. Well, let's discard the sun bit, because that's only one observation you made.
Well, I don't want to. No, okay. If we're going to discard the sun bit, then I need at least an admission. At least meet me halfway on this. That the flat Earth model does not have an answer for why the sun changes an angular or doesn't change an angular size throughout the day. Can we at least meet there?
I think that you have made observations, and that there may be other possibilities or other independent variables that need to be tested first, but you can't on the sun. So I don't think it is a viable hypothesis to make. So I don't think, and I won't submit this into a court, for example. So I don't discard it. I know you've made those observations, and that's good. That's fine. It's fine for me. Yeah. But there are other things that made me still believe that the Earth is flat.
That's perfectly fine that there's other things, but I don't just want to throw this off, because if it is going to be the case that we're simply going to discard or we're going to move on without actually coming to a understanding on what the hell is going on, I don't actually want to move on until we at least come to a midpoint on this. And the midpoint is this. You said it yourself. If the flat Earth community still needs to investigate something, then that means by default they do not have an answer. Otherwise, why would they be investigating if they already had the answers to begin with? So, can you at least make the admission that for the angular size of the sun problem, flat Earth does not have an answer for said problem?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to admit it, because I don't think you can say, based on your observations alone, that's the case.
Okay, then if we're going to look at other observations, you mentioned that there was one about Russian vids. You saw on Russian vids channel, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. So I am now screen sharing the video that you're probably referring to. This is a video from Russian vids, 38,523 views, and this is the sun. I want to make something painfully obvious here, is that these rays that are coming out, the reason why those rays exist is because this video was not filmed, I repeat, was not filmed with a solar filter. And so as the sun sets, what you're going to see is that's going to go through more and more atmosphere. And now we see the actual size of the sun right here and the rays protruding out from it. That's because it is overwhelming the camera sensor. And so if we're going to use this video as evidence that the sun does change in angular size throughout the day, which, by the way, the angular size just changed by it going behind the freaking clouds, and I think you and I will both agree that doesn't happen that fast, then what we need is a better observation from the flat earthers that actually matches what a proper observation should be. We shouldn't be simply going to the first case of a flat earther saying, I have video of the sun, and not give him any shit whatsoever when he says, hey, why didn't you use the solar filter? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? This makes your observation void. This voids your entire observation. We can't learn anything from it other than the fact that the sun will overwhelm a camera sensor. Because when I did this observation, I took great care to make sure that there was no glare in the image. You do not see any rays streaking outward from that big ball of light in the side known as the sun. In fact, it was so awesome you could see sunspots, which was nice, I think. But with that being said, it seems like when it comes to the one that has the evidence on their side, I'm not seeing any of them from the flat earther side, and I just gave you one that is pretty hard to dispute. Wouldn't you say? I mean, wouldn't we agree on that?
We have only spoken about one thing, so.
Yeah, and I'm only focusing on this
you
one
said,
thing.
Yeah, well, okay, but we were talking about model, right? And you diverted a little bit from that. And in models, there are many things, right? Many things that are the case to make up what you think is a spinning ball.
Tying it back to a model.
Yeah.
On the model that I am referring to is the model that is accepted by the scientific community, in that the sun is 93 million miles away, or 150 million kilometers away. We'll go with clicks because it's more universally known, unless you live in America. Seriously, America, adopt the fucking metric system. I'm now even agreeing with that. So with that, being that the sun is 150 million kilometers away and the rotation of the Earth is only going to give you a difference of like 0.0000001%, we shouldn't expect to see the angular size of the sun change throughout the day. And we should expect to see it change in angular size throughout the day on a flat Earth. And so just by going that alone, even if we don't have all the answers, we should at least be intellectually honest enough to admit that first blood goes to the round Earth model and not the flat Earth model. At least admit that much.
No, I won't. I simply won't. No.
Well then, until you have something that is as basic as this to put in its place, we don't have anywhere. The flat Earth has nowhere to go other than we're just looking at the evidence and saying, nuh-uh.
Well, give me, but besides the sun, other evidences that you think are compelling enough to convince.
Okay, so
Convince me.
I do have one more image that I want to show you, and in fact, it was an image that Sperkismo even admitted that the flat Earth didn't have an answer for. But I want to make sure I understand you very clearly. You're not willing to admit that first blood just went to the round Earth, but you still do not have an answer when it comes to the angular size of the sun problem.
Like
correct?
I said, I think still perspective, atmospheric refraction.
Well, that's great. That's great that you think that, and I think it's not that.
No, well, then we have no scientific evidence, because we're only observing, and that's only the first step of the scientific method.
Well, what else is there to do? I mean, how do we proceed further?
Why do you assume? Because one thing happens, then it's around Earth. Why?
I didn't say it's one thing. We're sticking on this one thing because I want an actual answer for it.
Yeah, I can imagine so, but
what I'm seeing here is this.
The model is not only one thing that you observed, right?
No, it's not only one thing, and trust me, we'll get to others.
With the other things that you have that comports with your spinning ball Earth
Betty,
thing.
Betty, the problem is I don't just want to dismiss something that you are simply not answering. I want this to be solid, and so we'll move on, assuming I can get an actual answer to this next question, or an actual admission, I should say. If there is more research if we can even call it that, to be done from the flat earth camp, that is fine. But can you at least admit that being that more research is needed in order to come to a consensus in the flat earth community, that therefore answers aren't yet available from the flat earth community when it pertains to the angular size of the sun?
I think that only the observations can't make up for a model. That's what I think. I think you need to have the scientific method to go through and have a hypothesis and do the right testing. And you can't test an is or a what. And the Earth is an is or a what. So you can't test it.
So wait a minute.
So I don't need to go and look at boats going over the horizon and all that. That's all punk to me. It's not scientific to me. So well, I won't accept it.
Okay, that's great that you won't accept it, and I'm not talking about boats over the horizon. Believe me, we'll get to that in a moment. But my next batch of evidence actually has nothing to do with boats over the horizon. It's actually something far more easier than that. But with this, what I'm hearing from you is this. In one breath, you admit that the flat earth camp needs to actually do more homework when it comes to the angular size of the sun problem. You acknowledged the fact that it is a problem, which is good. That's something you and I agree on, and I appreciate your intellectual honesty on that. However, when it came to finally putting the nail in the coffin on the subject, you're not willing to say that at the very least, first blood goes to the round earth. And that's something I find problematic because, yeah, and I use that word problematic, that's something I find problematic because it shows that you are intellectually honest until we get to that point, and then all of a sudden, nope, we simply draw a line in the sand. And I'm wondering for what reason? For what reason do we simply draw that line in the sand and say that, oh, I can't accept at the bare minimum that I'm not even accepting that the earth is round at this point. I'm just accepting that first blood may have gone to the round earth, and they can have it. It's still going to be flat earth at the end of the day after all is said and done. But at least I'm intellectually honest enough to admit that first blood goes to the round earth. In fact, how about this? I'll even make an admission to you to make it easier, just so that it doesn't feel like you're actually losing anything. I will admit that first blood goes to the flat earth when it comes to looking at the horizon. It looks pretty damn flat, does it not?
Exactly.
So if I can admit first blood there, then you can admit first blood here. Do we have a deal?
Okay.
Okay, good. That's what we need.
Just to move on.
Just to move on.
Yes, because otherwise
we'll be on this damn thing forever. Okay, then
I think that would be the case. Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to share my screen one more time, and I'm going to ask. Actually, I'm going to bring up MS Paint. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and Betty, you tell me if you can actually see this damn thing, because sometimes Google likes to mess up on me. Okay, and share. Okay, do you see this?
Yes.
Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a very poorly drawn flat earth. Do not comment on my art skills. I don't have any.
Oh, well, I do.
Okay, well, that's
why I know perspective, I think, because I was a natural at it.
Yeah, but you may have art, I have math. Alpha equals 2 times the arctan of G over 2R. I know the law of perspective.
And it doesn't comport to reality at all.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a moment. So, all right, what I'm drawing here is a very crude diagram, and we're going to say that, actually, let's just make this with a brush, because why the hell not? Okay, so this is a poorly drawn stick figure person on a flat earth. This yellow sphere is the sun, and this arrow represents light. Okay, it's representing light. Now we would admit that light is going to stream in all directions from the sun. So it's going to go this way. It's also going to go this way, and so forth and so on. Whatever. It's going to illuminate everywhere.
I know what you want to say. Yes.
Okay, cool. So illuminates everything. So my question to you is this then, if this is the case. Is it ever a case on the flat Earth that light comes from the ground straight up and illuminates objects like the sun would? Does this ever happen on a flat Earth?
It could be, yeah.
That light streams up from the ground?
It could be due to perspective.
Okay, how does the law of perspective say that light is going to stream up from the ground?
Yeah. Have you looked at the video of Rob Skiba, by the way?
I've seen many Rob Skiba videos. Which one are you
Okay.
referring to?
And I think I have it. I need to switch to my Word page. Let's see. I have a link, but I don't know how to put it in some chat or something.
All right. How about this? Before you get there, let me just, I think there might have been some confusion on my questions. So let me just repeat, just to make sure we have everything clear. I'm saying light streams up from the ground, as in the flat Earth itself is the illuminating property, not the sun. Does the flat Earth glow in any way, or just the sun?
I don't know.
You don't know whether or not the
no,
Earth
but I see
glows.
I see a vector that you've drawn. I see a level ground.
Yeah, this is representing the flat Earth.
Yes.
This arrow is representing the direction of light.
Tell me what you want to convey here, because I can't answer a simple picture.
A simple question?
Like this. Yeah, no, well, a simple question, yes, but this is a drawing. I can draw this stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. I'm asking whether or not light streams up from the flat Earth itself.
I want first to know why you want to know, because you have made an observation that made you look at it that way, and I don't.
Yeah.
I see no evidence, so
Betty.
I want to see it first. You know?
Betty, I have. Okay, here's the thing. I'm just going to assume that you're playing here.
No.
Are you honestly willing to tell me that it is possible that sunlight can stream from the ground itself?
I believe that things can be lit from underneath on a flat Earth. That's what I'm convinced of. Okay. Because I saw the vids of Rob Skiba, and he made an experiment, and you could see it being done.
Yeah, so the light source could be above it, but yet illuminate things below itself. So essentially,
because of
a contradiction.
Yes, but no, it's not a contradiction.
Yeah, that is
a contradiction, but for me, it's perspective.
Yeah, but you still haven't told me how perspective works here. And in fact, let me actually.
That's a little bit difficult to talk about. You have to see it.
How about this? Maybe this will help us. Since flat earthers like to talk about the law of perspective a lot, what is the law of perspective? Let's start there. What is the law of perspective?
Now you're going to come with an equation again, I think.
No, if you're going to go with an equation, be my guest. I asked you this question. I'm not the one going to answer it for you. What is the law of perspective?
I don't say that is a law. I see things, and when I draw, because I'm not a real artist, but I draw, I paint, I sculpt. You see my avatar, I think. Yeah, that's a horse that I made myself from wax, and I made it a little bit better and had it made.
That's great that you're an artist. I'm still looking for an answer to this question though, because if you're using the law of perspective as an answer to my question, that means you know what the law of perspective is. So what is the law of perspective?
I have no equations for the law of perspective.
I'm not asking for an equation. I'm asking for a definition.
I have not the definition. Sorry.
All right. So if you don't have an equation, if you don't have a definition, then how are you using it as a counterpoint?
Well, you equivocate with all definitions as well. So I equivocate with this then.
With nothing.
I still, it's perspective. It is the way things are observed.
Yeah,
and
the way things.
Yes, well, when the sun goes to the horizon, and the light.
For a moment.
Yeah, the light will come up and underneath the clouds. It is perspective. And I can't explain that. That is something that you have to see for yourself. And to make experiment that yourself. And I have seen Rob Skiba do it.
Betty, that's fine if you've seen Rob Skiba do it. The very least I would expect Rob Skiba to do was to give you a valid definition that he was working from. And it seems to me that since you don't know what that valid definition is, that you don't even have a valid definition, that he didn't provide one as well. And if he didn't provide one as well, then he's going to be tripping over himself over this question like you are right now.
Yeah, well, let's call it an observation then.
Yeah, I'll call that a blatant fact because you're demonstrating it right now. I asked you a very basic question. Since you're using the law perspective as the end-all be-all answer to everything that confirms flat Earth or everything that is not supposed to confirm around Earth, then I should be able to get a valid definition from you on what the law perspective actually is. If you asked me what the law perspective was, I could actually give you a definition. I could give you a mathematical equation, and I can give you an example of where the law perspective would be applied and how we can use that to find out facts about reality. I could do that.
Helping you to get me to around Earth, you know.
What it should do, Betty, is inform you is that maybe the answers that you give to round earthers aren't exactly answers, and this is the reason why we get frustrated with it.
Of course you get frustrated because you can't see what we see. That's the problem.
Oh no, we see what you see.
You don't see what we see because you still have questions about it.
No. Basically, we see the same thing. It's just what we get from it is two totally different things. You looked at Russian's video, and you saw evidence. I looked at Russian's vid's video, saw the exact same you did, and realized that it was a total clusterfuck because he was doing his observation with no solar filter, thus not allowing us to see what the actual angular size of the sun would be. We saw the exact same thing, but what we got out of it was two different things. And what I'm getting, and when I use law perspective, or when a flat earther uses the law perspective, and when a round earther uses the law perspective, we're of course meaning two totally different things. Because if that is the case, then we got a bit of a problem here. So let's cut the crap and let's get right to the basics. Let's define our terms. So with that, what is the law perspective? If your answer is I do not know what the law perspective is, then you cannot use it as an answer to any of my questions since you don't know where it would be applied.
No, I don't agree.
You don't? Okay, so
if you don't know Dutch, you know, that doesn't mean that you don't know certain things to explain in English.
Betty, if
so wrong statement.
Betty, if I don't know Dutch, then I'm not going to use Dutch to begin with. Just like if I don't know the definition of a certain term, I'm not going to use that as an answer.
It is still there. Right?
It's still there, but you don't know the answer to it, so it's not there for you.
And therefore, I have no say in the matter. That's
yes, exactly. You have no.
That's okay.
You have no say. You have no say.
But that doesn't matter anything about proof. What about your proof? Come on. Give me the best proof besides that sun of yours.
Besides the sun, because it uses the law of the law perspective that you don't know about.
I know. I make observations as well, and I see
you make
totally different things than you. And I told you already.
Yeah, basically what I'm saying.
Earth to be round or flat through.
Betty, the problem is that
you can't.
Betty, before I even show you any proof, you need to understand why your method of thinking is not going to allow you to get anything valid from it.
No, I don't think that because you don't have a definition of the law of perspective. I never knew there was a law of perspective. I use perspective. I see perspective. That's what I see. I make an observation. That's what I see. And then
Betty.
That's what I see, and that doesn't make it any more valid or invalid to presume that the Earth is flat or round. You made that decision. I made another.
I use a car every day. I know what a car is. I see a car. I know what a car is. I know I can define my terms that I actually use. If you are going to be using terms that you yourself can't define, then essentially you are saying nothing. When you say nothing as a response to my valid questions, you're not making a good case for yourself. What you're saying is that you're essentially accepting the flat earth on faith and assuming that that law of perspective is a valid response to my questions based solely on faith.
First of all, I use a car as well, but I don't know how it works. Am I not able to use that car?
Just because you don't know how a car works doesn't mean you don't know that it works, right?
Well, that's the same with perspective.
No, it isn't.
I know that it works. I know that it works because I've seen it in the vids of Rob Skiba, that you can have clouds lit underneath.
Betty, how a car works would be equivalent to me giving you the mathematical equations behind the law of perspective. Knowing that it works would be like me just giving you a bare bones definition of as shit gets further away, the shit's gonna shrink in size. That is essential. You're saying that that method of thinking, oh no, there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that, but you can't tell me what the more is. Do you see how that looks to me? That looks to me like you're simply accepting the law of perspective as a valid answer for everything based solely on faith, because you don't know.
It's not faith, because I see and observe it just like you do. You see,
Betty,
you're
not telling me what flat earthers are thinking, what they actually mean, what the context is when flat earthers use the term law of perspective. You're not giving me anything to go on.
Did I use the law of perspective term? No, I said perspective.
Perspective, law of perspective, whatever the case, the word perspective is
you made the claim that there was a law of perspective. Then validate it yourself then.
Well, actually, there is a law. Alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r. Alpha is the angular size of the object, r is the distance to the object, and g is the actual size of the object. And you can actually verify this because it's basic trigonometry and physics. Okay. Would you like me to spell it out again for you and show you how we can actually demonstrate this to be true?
Maybe you should write it down.
Type it out for you?
Yeah, maybe.
Alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r. This is trigonometry. You did trigonometry in school, right?
Well, I was not good at it.
Obviously. Well, you know what? Can't really say I'm surprised. Okay, then because you don't know trig, this isn't going to help you. So, well, great. Then we're pretty much as still-made there as well. Another thing that I would advise brushing up on. So with this, I would.
I get nightmares of that.
Nightmares of math.
Yeah,
you and every other flat earther I've ever talked to. Okay, so you know what? At this point, I think even though you're not going to say it, I'm just going to make this assertion, and you can disagree with me. But feel free to disagree with me. It's completely up in the air on whether or not the audience buys it from you. I think that you using the law of perspective when you don't even know the context or the definition of the law of perspective, or even perspective, just the word, pretty much tells me that whenever you use that as an answer, you don't actually have an answer.
What do you want me to say?
You know what? I agree. What I want you to say is, okay, here's honestly what I want you to say. Red, you're an inspiration to us all. Without you, life wouldn't be worth living. In fact, I want to give you $20 as a token of my appreciation for educating me on the fact that I should probably brush up on trigonometry and the actual definition of the law of perspective, since the law of perspective is a mathematical equation, and it would help my case to know what the hell that is, so I can therefore try to apply it to flat earth and then see for myself that flat earth is a bunch of bullshit when they just use it as a catch-all phrase to a problem that they simply can't answer. But if we can start with the $20, that'd be great.
What is $20 in euros?
That's actually a very good question, and I do not know that, and we'll come to that later. But that's why I want you to say.
Listen, I saw. What fit did you use earlier from Russian fits?
I'll bring it up in the history, and I'll send it to you. While I'm saying it to you, though, can I show you the picture that I was going to show?
Yes, of course.
Because this was the image I showed Spurkismo, but he couldn't necessarily get 20 euros. Apparently $20 is 20 euros pretty much. I'll take it. PayPal me that shit. Okay. This is a picture that I took in Cape Canaveral, Florida. This is the aftermath of a launch of the Atlas V 551 rocket. Basically, 551 means it has 5 solid rocket boosters on the son of a bitch, and it's loud as hell. And of course, the 551 leaves a smoke trail behind due to the solid rocket boosters before they're jettisoned. So this trail that you're seeing from the launch pad is in shadow, stays in shadow, then all of a sudden there's a definitive sharp line, a cut, if you will, where the gas starts to become illuminated by the sun. Now, being that the sun is supposed to be 3,000 miles in the air at all times, and this gas cloud is maybe 70 kilometers up, maybe, if that, how is it the case that the sun can be illuminating this cloud from here, but not any from down here? What physics are in play on the flat Earth that will cause this phenomenon to happen, this visual phenomenon of a cut between shadow and light?
Well, we have a lot of independent variables here. We have different textures in air. We have maybe the one thing is water vapor, the other is soot or something else. I don't know. So how can we even get this tested like that? But I would say that the darker trail would have soot in it, or would be darker, and that the other trail that you see, sorry, the sun is over there. You see still a little bit of the yellow there, right?
It's below the horizon.
It's not below, it is on the horizon in the far distance.
It was below the horizon.
Play with me a little. It is not below the horizon in my world view. You want to explain it to you when on a flat Earth, right? So I can't be confirming your worldview, right?
Hypothetically speaking, okay, fine. Let's say
the sun is not set. The sun is behind those darker trees or whatever, what it is, and the sun is angling up, because you said the sun angles up his light, and that is what it does. That's what I see. That's literally what I see.
Yeah,
and
you're saying that the sun
makes the darker trails go dark because it can't penetrate the darker trail, and on the other side where the light is, that's more or less dense. It's water vapor, I suspect, but that's only what I suspect, because I can't prove this to you in any way, shape, or form, and that is the perspective that I see.
Are you okay? So I heard 3 different possible answers there. None of them actually hitting the nail on the head. Let me repeat them back to you.
I think they hit the nail on the head. All right, but
okay. So the first
you are agreeing with.
Well, the first answer that I heard is that literally the rocket changes the composition of its fuel mid-flight, because that would be more efficient, I guess. Another thing that I heard is that the light cannot penetrate the gas, but in which case it doesn't need to penetrate the gas, it just needs to illuminate it. I think you and I will agree we're looking at the surface of the gas that the light hits. So penetration doesn't need to be a thing.
I mean, that cloud is more diffuse than the other trail, but that's me.
It's the same cloud, though. It's connected to the same. It's the same cloud.
I see a still here.
Yes, there is a.
Yeah. Well, so I don't.
Well, if you want more stills, I have a shitload of them. In fact, I even have a video if you want to see that.
Yeah. No, I don't. I
mean, this was the early morning. I mean, look at that. You can even see Orion's belt. Badass. There's the
That's
VAP.
beautiful. Wow.
Yes, it was very, very beautiful that night. And seeing a rocket launch made it even better. And so, seeing this though, what I see here is that we see the light actually hitting this, but the light not hitting that. It's not a matter of light penetration. It's that the light isn't even getting here at all. Otherwise, at least one side of this would be illuminated, and we're not seeing that.
It is illuminated, that side.
Not to the extent that I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
How are you not seeing this?
Because I actually have eyes. I'm seeing this
Yes,
glowing light,
and
and this
too,
has like a. This has
because
like a darkish.
I would have painted this one, I would have made that little cloud where your pointer is now. I would have made that a little lighter than the top above.
Well, this isn't a painting. This is a picture.
Yes, well, if I have to paint it, I will have to paint it like that because it would represent it like the picture.
Okay, if we're talking about lighting up, this is a fucking spotlight, and this is a flashlight with dead batteries. Okay, I'm talking about the difference here. And not only is there a difference, but you can actually see this happening in real time. That it's clear. Oh, you want to? Oh, okay. Then I guess it might actually help to see it in real time, wouldn't it? So this is a video I took of the Atlas V 551 lifting off. You'll see this. This is known as house-hoist launch. I'm going to fast forward. So that's the rocket lifting off. There's the rocket still lifting off, doing its badass thing. And here we see the separation of the solid rocket boosters. So that means from this point forward, the solid rocket boosters aren't doing the work. So all that's left is the liquid oxygen and the RP1 that is on the rocket itself. So the composition from this point forward is not going to change, okay? But then all of a sudden, you know, for apparently no fucking reason whatsoever, the rocket goes into the sunlight and this shit happens. Actually, let me back up just a little bit since we missed it. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. There, watch this. Then all of a sudden, you know, out of nowhere, the vapor trail in the back that's coming out the ass end of the rocket gets illuminated right there. And it's clear that the composition of the gas is not changing since the rocket never shut off to switch tanks or whatever. It remained constant, and now the gas is illuminating. How does this make any sense on a flat Earth, given that the sun would have to be above it, not below it, but above it, and the rocket is not even, I would say, maybe 100 kilometers up at this point? Maybe 80 kilometers, 90 kilometers?
But the sun is above the flat.
The sun is above, correct? So it should be illuminating everything, not just a select portion. Why is that?
But because the sun has his limits, or her limits.
Limits based on what?
On where the light goes. It doesn't lit up the whole flat Earth at the same time. It's like a spotlight.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, well, why? Why? We can ask, why is a banana have a curve? Why? I can explain that, can't you? You can't also. So that's not an argument here.
The sun has limits, but you said that, okay, hey, if you're saying the sun has limits, I want to know what those limits are and how they are limited.
Yeah, well, listen, you have had people do your homework for you, right?
No, I've actually gone to
No, listen. The scientists, the equations that you use, all the things that you have comprised to make the ball Earth work, right? We are only just now beginning to comprehend the flat Earth, and I think it is not reasonable for you to ask me all these questions to explain everything. The only thing that I can explain is the perspective part of it, how I perceive it. That's how I see, and it is just something you have to see. And if you don't, you don't. That's the simple thing about it. And you think with your left brain, and I think with my right brain. Right, pun intended. So it's come out of that only math equation thing and step onto the other side and see really how things could work on a flat Earth. And they can work on in the same way, almost, as your ball Earth.
No, it can't.
Yes.
And just to be, hang on. Except you don't know what the definition of perspective is, so
Well,
you
I
using
don't
that
need
term
it.
means you
I don't
actually
need
don't
it
have
to
an
use
answer.
it. I don't need it to use it, just like my car.
Yeah, just like this entire debate,
Even if
only
I
use
didn't
math
know what
once.
the word car is,
Hang
because
on, my turn to
car
speak.
is auto in Dutch. Yeah? This also, you don't know, perhaps you did. And if I say, I want to take my auto with me, then you will still know that when I get into my car, that it is a car. So it's equivocating all about all those things.
Talk about equivocation, because
Yeah,
that
well,
example
yeah,
makes no
well,
sense.
perhaps, yes. Perspective
Yeah,
is,
perhaps.
yeah, well, perspective is the thing here, and you have to see it. And if you don't see it, you don't
As
get
soon as you
it.
give me an actual definition for perspective when you're using that word, you're not saying anything of value. You literally do not have an answer to any question I pose, because you're using a catch-all word that literally changes its definition and changes its context mid-debate. This is just as
It's
bad
the same
as
for your gravity. That's the same.
actually no, gravity never changes its definition.
No? Oh, it does. Because is it a force or is it time-space? What is it?
Wait a minute, what?
Is gravity a force or isn't it a force?
No, you can measure it as a force. It's actually acceleration. For example, Betty, when you, let's say you're in a 2017 Nissan GTR and you're driving the
I don't
Nismo
get
edition
this because I don't.
like you.
I don't get
Let's
this.
say
I
you're
don't
in
know
a,
that.
let's say you're in a really fast car.
Okay.
Let's say you're in a really fast car, and that fast car, let's say a Tesla, activates launch control, puts their foot to the floor, and flings you back in the seat so hard it nearly snaps your neck. Let's just say that happens. Could you measure that, what just happened to you, as acceleration or force?
And this is the law of gravity?
Or hang on, could it be measured as both? And
is it
both
gravity?
mean the exact same thing.
Is this gravity?
Yes, gravity is measured as gravitational acceleration. Why do you think it's 9 meters per second squared? Why is it defined as distance over time squared? Distance over time squared.
But
so gravity is literally acceleration.
So it's Newtonian. Newtonian gravity that you're talking about.
Newtonian gravity.
Because Newtonian gravity says that it is force. Right?
What gravity do you think I'm referring to? I'm referring to the gravity
that you're the one
down.
who says that he knows what the gravity is, so I'm asking you.
This is getting really deep. Okay, so yeah, I don't think you understand the definition of what I mean by deep. Okay, so when it comes to gravity, I'm saying that the definition of gravity has never changed. So when you ask me what is gravity, I say gravity is acceleration, or warping of space and time to cause that acceleration. Acceleration can also be, hang on. And for me to answer your question, you need to actually listen to the answer.
Yeah,
and so acceleration can also be measured in force, like in pounds. Like I can measure in pounds the amount of force my body pressed on the seat when the Tesla P90D decided to rocket away from a stoplight.
And what is mass?
Mass is, I don't know how much there is in a given volume. I don't know the exact definition, but that's what it is. How much given stuff is in a given volume.
So you can use something but you don't know the definition about it?
No, I actually do know the definition of.
Yeah. Oh, now you know.
The amount of stuff in a given volume. The amount of stuff in a given volume.
What stuff?
Stuff. Things.
What stuff? What stuff? What is things? What stuff?
So basically, we're going to go full presuppositionalist on people, huh?
Yeah, well, you are equivocating now, aren't you? So I can equivocate on perspective, and you are doing the same thing with mass, gravity, and all the other things.
If you really want to get deep, let's go as deep as we can go, Betty, because guess what? This is a battle you will lose. Energy. Because energy equals, E equals mc squared, right?
So you can me again.
No. I'm just going as deep as you want it to go. Betty, you're not going to win this. The fact is, I have definitions.
I know I'm not going to win this because I don't have any intention of winning or losing, or that doesn't matter to me. It matters to you. obviously. It doesn't matter to me.
Actually, I'm
Because
trying
yes,
to get.
you try to, in your previous hangout, you are already celebrating everything.
Well,
because,
my previous hangout was a
and with
clusterfuck, and I actually
respect,
said that beforehand.
you made a
And we're
really
not.
nasty comment in that hangout that was translated into Dutch. And the word kut is not a nice word, I can tell you that. And I translated it a little bit different. Kwalitatief, uitermate teleurstellend. And that's what I think you are. But
Good enough. Don't care. If
I
you're
don't care because you don't know what it is, but that's okay.
No, even if I did know what it was. I mean, Betty, let me tell you this. You cannot possibly fathom the immensity of the fuck I do not give. What I'm trying
of course, I understand.
What I'm trying to do here, and we're getting way off topic, and now I'm going to forcefully reel you back in on this point, is that whenever you use the word perspective, you are not telling me anything because you haven't given me any context or any definition in which you use the word.
Okay, and I can say the same thing with gravity.
And you can't, as I just demonstrated. So for you to use the word,
hang on, because you never knew what mass is.
For you to use the word perspective, you have to give me something to chew on. You have to give me something to go on. You have to give me a context in which I can actually go with. You have to tell me the meaning of the word so I know how the word fits into as a possible solution to all the problems I'm giving for flat Earth.
Well, you know what perspective is, right?
I know what perspective is.
Yeah, well, then I don't have to explain it.
Actually, you do when you need to define your terms.
Yes, and you do too, because gravity is either a force or it is space-time. Which is it? Is it Newtonian or is it Einsteinian? Gravity.
Or maybe it could be both?
No, because they are mutually exclusive. No, it can't be both. Because
Actually,
Einstein...
they can't because...
And we are equivocated by gravity because it doesn't even exist like Einsteinian or Newtonian. Because quantum mechanics is refuting both of the theories.
Why are Newtonian physics still used to this day when it comes to putting satellites in space if the thing was completely uprooted by Einstein?
Define space for me then, because I don't believe
anything where a stable orbit could exist.
Yeah, I don't believe in orbits, but so why
I don't care. You asked me to define it, and so I gave you the definition.
Yes, but to have a definition, you have to also provide me with the evidence that it is there, right? Because when I have a definition for perspective, I still have to show you that it works, right?
And I can show you that works, but I just did through a thought experiment of you looking at a car as you drifted further and further away. Yes, I can show you the International Space Station in orbit as filmed from Earth by yours truly. Would you like to see that? Would you also like to see, I don't know.
It's only observation, so it doesn't comport for me with scientific.
It's okay. So if you won't accept observations that an object is actually in orbit, then what the fuck will you accept?
I accept observations, but then I want to see
a hypothesis. Hangout, you aren't.
I want to see a hypothesis.
I just gave you a hypothesis.
What?
My hypothesis is that an object that is going tangent to the surface of the Earth at a given speed and at a given altitude will be in a stable orbit. And guess what? Observations are part of the scientific method.
Begging the question again.
Betty.
Because you are assuming that it isn't making an orbit, right?
Betty, learn what begging the question is before you use it.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
You are making an assumption that the Earth has an orbit, right?
Hang on.
And that cannot be in an hypothesis.
Prediction.
That's what you want to prove.
Prediction.
For crying out loud.
Prediction.
Yeah, well, so, I can predict that there are pixies behind the sun.
If you are making a prediction, Betty, if you're making a prediction, that is not begging the question.
Well,
the cringe is real on your side.
It is begging the question if you are using in the hypothesis that what you want to have to find out. You have to find out if the Earth has an orbit, and then you make an assumption based on observation. That's what you.
I don't know. Maybe the fact that the object is in orbit would confirm whether or not there is an orbit in existence to begin with. Wouldn't there be? Maybe we can kill two birds with one stone by actually going outside and looking up.
Yeah, I look up and I see something different. So
no, you don't. You see the exact same thing I do.
No, well, I see lights in the sky. What do you see?
Yeah, then I recommend you invest in some telescope technology, because holy shit.
And then I see still lights in the sky. And I see
you want to know what I see?
That might look like planets. Of course, I see that. I know that they're there, right?
But do you know what I see? I see moons orbiting Jupiter. I also see the International Space Station, and the fact that it is the most unaerodynamic craft in existence, with the solar panels facing broadside first in the direction of travel. That's what I see. Therefore, showing me that if the space station is in fact in motion, which it obviously is, because you can see it go across the fucking sky, we know for a fact that it is, one, in vacuum, since it's not being slowed down by the big broad fans on each side, and we know it's in orbit since there is absolutely nothing propelling it forward. So how does it stay up? All of a sudden, we have—
That's for you to answer, not me.
Yeah, and guess what the answer is? After doing the complicated mathematics and after doing the actual observations in a way that flat earthers simply won't, that proves that there is an orbit actually happening. There is an orbit that is actually in existence right now.
I'm sorry. I need to laugh. You're seeing stuff, right? You're seeing lights in the sky. You see.
Not lights, the International Space Station.
Well, you see, okay, you see that, and I see planes flying also, and it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove that we can go there, right?
The fact that an International Space Station is there is somehow not proof that, oh no, it's actually there.
It's in a vacuum, right?
Yes, it is in a vacuum.
Yes, and lack of particles, right?
And we can prove that too.
Yeah. How is that thing not burning up?
How is what thing not burning up?
That space station of yours.
Why would it be burning up?
Because the sun is there as well, right?
Yeah, the sun is there about 150 million kilometers away.
In a vacuum, right?
In a vacuum,
radiation, radiation, right?
Yeah, I forgot that the space station is made of reflective material.
Yes, but it's also made of particles, right?
It's made of particles of reflected material.
Yeah,
not only that, the International Space Station.
People should be cooking up.
Not only that, but the International Space Station is covered with an ablative coating, thus making it survive such environments.
That's what they tell you, of course.
Or it's the fact. Maybe what they're actually telling us is actually the case. Why do you dismiss it offhand? Simply because it comes from the people that actually made the damn thing.
I used to believe in it. I was.
Yeah, but now you're
dismissing all that things. I was really into it also.
Right but there, you just dismissed it out of hand because the information came from the people that actually made the damn thing.
I don't. I see things in the sky. I see lights moving in the sky as well.
Yeah, this wasn't a light.
And that doesn't tell me that it is a space station.
No. Do you want to know what does tell you it's a space station? When you look at it and see that it's an actual freaking space station.
Yeah. Well,
you're seeing a light. What I saw actually had a clear, defined shape.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Of course,
and
of course you see that. Of course you see that.
And being that it had a clear defined shape, if I see the clear defined shape of a car, I'm reasonable in jumping to the conclusion that it's a freaking car, right? If I see something parked in my driveway that looks like a car, revs like a car, starts like a car, and takes my fucking money away for oil changes like a car, is it a car?
Yes, but you can touch that car, right?
Yeah, and guess what?
Yeah.
And guess what?
You can't touch that space station, and you never know.
I can also speak to the people that made the car, and I can speak to the people who made the space station.
Yes.
And not only that,
they could be lying to you.
And not only that, I can look up in the sky and see for myself that it's actually up there, showing
Yeah.
that they haven't lied. Because guess what? Someone had to make the damn thing, and I'm pretty sure the people who want to take credit for it are the people who actually made it.
Compartmentalization, right?
Compartmentalization, what? How is that an excuse for this conspiracy?
Oh, well, you can make people make anything. People on a conveyor belt only put some parts together.
I don't think the space. Oh yeah, because I always love taking tours at the space station factory. I love going there. Oh wait, one doesn't exist. Never mind.
No. Well, I saw a video of someone that had made those. How do you say? A sort of. Maybe that guy can help me.
You can say it in Dutch.
Een soort koepel waar al die raampjes in zitten. Die zou die gemaakt hebben.
And Mariah, you're gonna have to also mute yourself because
she is talking about that. What's that thing called? Where they take the pictures from to the Earth, cupola or whatever it's fucking called.
Oh, the cupola? You mean the 360-degree window thingy?
Yes.
Yes.
That thing.
Yes. How's it called?
Cupola.
Yeah, that's the cupola.
Oh, okay. Well, there was someone that was going to visit the man that made that thing, or he made it, or how do you say, designed it, and that man was totally surprised that it was up there on the ISS, and when you see that video, it's really hilarious to see. But is it up there? Is it up there? Because
cool.
It is.
Show the video, please.
Yeah, I don't have it because it came right up now. Right?
Then it's pointless bringing it up. I'm going to essentially make.
Yeah. Well,
the reason why I'm saying this is because when I say I have something, I actually have the ability to show you.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give me secondhand stories, I'm gonna only have to take it on face value, and that value is not very high.
I will link it to you later. Is that okay?
Sounds like a plan, but
okay. Because
then
you know that I see a lot of videos.
Well, I was
a
asking you.
A lot of videos.
Well, I don't know. I thought the week that you took before this, you were actually going to prepare, but apparently I was wrong.
Well, I didn't know that this would come up. I just off the top of my
fine.
head.
Then how about this?
Still,
how about this?
I
asked you.
That's the atmosphere, right?
I basically asked you a bunch of stuff, and I'm just going to go ahead and say I have yet to receive a satisfactory answer to show how the flat Earth holds water in any way, shape, or form. At this point, I think it's been all me. So since it is the case that Quantum Eraser, the guy that ran away from a debate with me, has a whole bunch of objections to the round Earth and stuff like that, I'm going to give you the floor here, and you ask me questions. Now, I want you to do one thing for me. At the end of this debate, I want you to rewatch how you responded, and then rewatch how I responded when dealt with questions. If that's fair.
This is my first debate in my defense, right?
First debate, but that still doesn't give you an excuse for not giving me a valid answer for anything.
No, well, I want to do a thought experiment. For one thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can we do that? Okay.
Go ahead and shoot.
Okay. Well, imagine yourself in space. Yeah. So you are in space. There's you are your own light. There's nothing there. Totally nothing. Right?
Okay.
Yes, you have it? Have it in your mind?
Yeah, lonely.
How would you know if you're moving or not?
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't, okay. Then someone is across from you. But undetermined distance.
Okay.
That person could be me, could be someone else. That person seems to move, from your perspective. How would you know that it is you that's moving or the other person?
You in reference to what?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because from his.
That's the question. How would you know? How would you know if that person is moving or you?
We don't. You're asking me to ask or to answer
it's
a question.
It's a thought experiment, right?
Yeah, and I've had this thought experiment before. I've
Okay.
actually already done this. And
Oh,
so
good.
because
Good.
when
Then you know.
when we're determining speed, it really depends on which reference point you wish to start from. So from his reference point, if we say he's the one staying still, then I'm the one
Mhm.
moving. But from
Yeah.
my reference point, if I'm the one staying still, then he's the one moving.
Yes.
But
Exactly.
as far as in reference to the universe itself, or since there's no reference point to go off of, we just don't know. There's
Okay.
no reference point to actually make that determination.
Okay. Now put that ball under your feet and stand on the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the same thing. You don't know whether you're moving or not.
And what is this supposed to show exactly? That you
And
don't
now
feel like you're moving, therefore you're not?
The earth is your reference point. And you can't determine either way whether you're moving or not. So it is only an assumption that we are moving or the universe is moving. It's only the point of perspective again, right? Because perspective can have different meanings. That's why I couldn't define it. In this case, perspective means that it is another way of looking at things.
Okay, so we've pretty much abandoned flat Earth at this point, and we're
No,
going for
no.
geocentrism.
No, well, it could be flat plane because we haven't been around anything yet. So it could
Okay,
be flat plane or it could be a ball.
So just because you don't feel like you're moving, therefore you're not. Is that where you're going with this?
Well, pretty much, but also that you have no basis to state that you are moving at all. And it is in fact also nonsensical to assume that we are moving at all. Because we can explain all the things that go around us or above us in other ways.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
We have, which is why I would say that.
Yeah, you have, but you haven't scientifically validated. That's what it is.
Okay, that's well. That actually works, except for the fact that the Earth's rotation is not assumed; it's confirmed.
Yeah, how?
A lot of ways. Have you ever heard of the Foucault's pendulum?
Okay, what's the hypothesis? I want to know. Because now you brought it up. Foucault's pendulum.
Correct.
Wow. Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that an object in motion doesn't necessarily go in a different path than the direction it was going at random? Correct?
I don't understand this word celestine.
If I have a perfectly smooth, level field and I roll that ball forward, it isn't going to arbitrarily turn to the left and to the right, correct?
No.
Okay.
But explain to me the Foucault's pendulum. I want a Foucault's pendulum.
Betty,
explain to me.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, well, no. I want to know what the hypothesis is.
Good.
What is it? What's the dependent and
Betty,
independent variable?
Betty, I'm willing to do one of two things for you. I'm either going to answer this question for you and you let me answer this question for you, or I'm going to hide you from the broadcast so I can answer it for you then. Which do you prefer? Okay, then please remain silent so I can answer the question for you about the pendulum. Thank you. So, the same way that if you have a perfectly smooth, perfectly level field and you roll a ball forward, it isn't going to arbitrarily turn from one end to the other. Therefore, if the Earth was in fact stationary, meaning the ground itself is not going to turn on it, then that means that if I were to have this pendulum swinging back and forth, there's nothing there to cause it to turn to left or to the right arbitrarily, since we've already demonstrated that on the smooth surface. So if you were to take that pendulum and put a marker on a turntable, you will see that relative to the turntable, the pendulum is moving, but outside of that turntable, you'll see that the pendulum stayed in that plane of orientation. And so therefore, the only way we would see that pendulum turn in its orientation would be if something was turning underneath it. So if we were to do this pendulum on the Earth, and we were to have a pendulum that was able to maintain its motion for an extended period of time, like let's say, a single day, we should be able to confirm or deny whether or not that pendulum stays at a certain orientation or turns and deviates from the orientation it started out at relative to the ground. And when we do this observation in real life, we see that, well, golly gee willikers, turns out that the pendulum does not maintain its same orientation that started out in relative to the ground. Therefore, it is pretty much confirmed at that point that the Earth is the one doing the spinning. And therefore, it would explain pretty much everything as why the sun rises up and down. Maybe it's not the sun moving, maybe it's us. And the pendulum confirmed that.
No, it didn't. Because I have a pendulum myself here, and it stops at a certain point. That thing keeps on going, right?
Yeah, go to the one in the Natural History Museum.
Yeah, well, it stops. A real pendulum stops at some point.
Go to the one in the Natural History Museum.
Yeah, I don't have to.
The difference between, actually no, you do, because the difference between your pendulum and the pendulum that's in the Natural History Museum is that your pendulum does not have enough kinetic energy to transfer throughout or to use throughout the day. The other pendulums are fucking massive, and so they actually do have enough kinetic energy to utilize throughout the day.
Well, no.
So just no. Okay.
No,
okay. You debunked it.
I don't think you have.
You just debunked it just by saying no.
Have isolated all the independent variables. What's the cause? Exactly. Because
did I
thing
not just explain this?
That thing could choose a side to rotate on, and you have to release it to do it. So it has to be released. And then that thing decides where it goes. That's how I see it.
It decides.
Yes, because it needs to be calibrated wherever it goes.
Calibrated.
Yes, adjusted.
Adjusted in what way? It's a weight on a string.
Yes, well, it does different things on different...
What things? It's a weight on a string. What things?
Well, I can't explain it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that got us nowhere. A next question, please, if you have one.
A question.
I know Quantum Eraser has like a shitload of these, so you can choose one of his if you have to.
Well, I did a thought experiment, and
What's the one after that, though?
Because
I know there's more.
A really a nice one to see. And oh yeah, maybe you can draw something for me.
Okay.
The drawing program, have you?
Warning: my artistic capabilities are non-existent.
Yes, I know.
If I can take time to just say something completely irrelevant to this conversation. Guys, all 387 of you watching this live stream, if you can do me a favor, go to the link that's in the description of this Hangout, and if you can donate something to my good friend Gus Bellinger, he's in need of some cash because he's in the hospital dealing with some life-altering shit at the moment, and he's a good friend of mine. So if you're enjoying this debate or whatever we've had so far, please click the link, donate what you can. Doesn't have to be much, and tell him Rent sent you because he's a good friend of mine, and I kind of want to gloat and rub it in his face. Yeah, you see this, Gus? I helped you this much. Thank me. I'm awesome, aren't I? So yeah, thank you very much, guys, for watching. If you can please donate something to Gus so I can rub it in his face later, that would be awesome. Thank you, guys. So Betty, next question, please. Or have you found one yet?
Yes. You were going to put up the drawing thing, right?
Oh, you want me to put up the drawing thing? Okay,
yes.
Okay. Hang on.
You are better at it. This is the first time I do a hangout. I don't know how to do it.
I'm not better at drawing. Art is not my strength. Okay, it's
only lines and circles. So.
Lines and circles. Okay, yes. I think that much I can do.
Well, okay. In a corner, in one of the corners, maybe on the left side.
Okay.
2 circles inside each other. But the first circle, can you draw that? Okay.
Like this?
Yes. And can you draw a circle in it, but then where the atmosphere would?
Not very well.
This is too thick because the atmosphere doesn't go that far from the radius of the Earth, right?
Oh, you're asking me to draw a diagram of the atmosphere.
Yes. Could
Shit.
you do that?
Yeah, I can. Well, mostly. Okay, so there's this. Okay, so just so that we're clear, this is not going to accurately represent color-wise, okay?
Okay.
Nor is this going to be the scale. Okay, so that's it. And then we have that.
You're making more.
Oh yeah,
You're
definitely.
Making the layers.
Yeah, okay. making layers.
Oh well, yeah, make a nice rainbow.
like a really fucked up onion. Okay. Yeah,
keep the square. That's nice. Keep the square.
I don't like the squares.
And maybe you can put it to the side.
There's infinitely many layers if you want. But
I know. No, but I want to know where a little bit where the vacuum starts.
The vacuum doesn't start; it graduates, and that's the difficulty.
That's a two-lot violation, by the way, because.
Yes, and so now what I have to do is I have to take the green and do. Actually, that's way too much. I need to take the green and I need to.
Well, you don't have to make so much fuss about it.
Spray, and then I need to take the blue and make a spray since it gets infinitely thinner. And so.
Okay, but that's not what I asked. That's not what I asked.
You asked for a diagram of the atmosphere. That's exactly what I'm giving you.
Yeah. Well.
So.
I want to know the Kármán line a little bit, where it. Okay, so let's say this. Okay, I know, because I want to know. It's those weather balloons,
so
right?
Fine. I'm not going to draw this shit.
Okay, the weather balloons.
Okay,
the height of the weather balloons.
Height of weather balloons.
Yes.
I actually launched one, and I want to say I got over 100,000 feet, but I lost track of it at 40,000.
No, mostly 33 kilometers.
Okay, so yeah. Well, if I can use, not metric, but imperial, I'm going to say 120,000 feet is what I've seen some balloons actually make it to.
Yes, I think so.
120,000 feet, and the Kármán line is about 100 kilometers up. And
okay, but I want the circle, the second circle where the Kármán, where the weather balloon would reach its end, where it would pop and go down.
Well, it would be at 120,000 feet. So, actually, let me do some fast math. 120,000 feet, divide that by 5,280. That's going to be 22.7 miles. Times that by 1.6. We're looking at 36.3 kilometers is where the balloon will reach its ceiling.
Okay.
Math is fun.
Yeah, you sound really sexy when you do that.
Thank you. So, with that, it's 36.3 kilometers in which the weather balloon will hit its. Oh,
now you can draw it up to scale then.
Oh, absolutely not. I don't have a computer nor a screen big enough.
I'm just kidding, Rens, because I have.
Halstoy could. I could get his ass in here, and he can draw the scare, but his computer will crash.
Okay. But just make those two circles and a little bit like where you think that balloon would end up. And
well, honestly, the two circles will be right on top of each other because when you're dealing with the size and scales
okay,
we're working at,
do it for me.
I can't. I don't have a computer nor a screen big enough to do it.
Okay, but make two circles within each other. Make it.
Okay, so long as we understand that it's not to scale, that's fine.
That's fine.
But this is absolutely 100% not to scale.
Okay, but then the inner circle would not be wide.
Okay, are you okay? So let's
Yes?
let's say this circle is the surface of the Earth.
Yeah.
Let's make the green the Kármán line, which again is not to scale. I want to say that over and over again, is not to scale.
I like this. I like this, but it's not. This is. Let's say that this is the way the balloon would reach the green thing. Okay.
Okay. Hang on one second. Let me fix something real quick. Let me just do this. And there we go. Much better. Less interruptions. Okay. For those of you messaging me on Skype, shut the fuck up. I can handle this myself. Okay. So with that.
Yeah. Distractions. And can you move them to the side? The Earth to the side. Left or right doesn't matter.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Great. Now I got rid of my black. There.
There goes your space. Can you square that circle?
What do you mean square it?
Well, make it square around it. That it touches the last circle.
The blue one or the green one?
The green one.
I'm really curious as to where this is going.
Yeah, me too. I just want your view on it. Because I know you will have a really good explanation for this. I know.
Most likely, once I figure out what it is your question is, which is why I'm going through the motions right now.
Yes. To the side, where the square touches the circle. That's where your balloon is.
You mean?
Make a dot? No, not on the top. On the side. On the right side? No, the left side. I think. Yeah, that side. Yes.
I don't. Okay. No, I'm genuinely serious. I have no idea what you're asking me right now.
Make a dot there. Make a dot. A little dot. That's where your balloon is.
Okay. Make a dot where my balloon is.
Yes, and a little line to the Earth.
Well, it would be halfway, so maybe right here.
No. Do it there, because later we add on where north, south, west will go. So make it to the side where the square touches.
Okay, now I'm really curious as to what that has to do with anything. Okay, so I mean, what am I doing here? Am I putting the dot here?
Yeah, and make a line there, between there.
Guys, if you're watching this in the live chat, just bear with me. I want to see where this is going.
Okay, so this balloon goes up from the Earth to the square, right?
Does it reach the square now?
Well, it does, because we have established that was the place where the balloon would pop and go back to Earth.
Yeah. Hang on. What we've established is that the balloon is going to pop halfway to the Kármán line.
Yeah, but we didn't establish that the green was the Kármán line. We established that the green was the maximum height that the balloon could get.
Okay, then in that case, then the balloon would be right on the line then.
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Okay, so it would be right there.
Yes, and make it. Okay, that's it. And the sun. No. Let's go first with where we are on the Earth. Suppose that dot is America.
What dot? You mean the dot is over America?
Yeah, because we are releasing the balloon in America.
Okay.
Okay. Then the north is on top. Where would you place the north? And I think that would be a little.
Well, it depends on, because there's no landmarks here. So if this dot is over America, will be depend. Are we looking at the Earth as we have, like this would be the south, and we're looking top down? Then the north would be. In fact, I'll do a little.
And we still have to see America because the balloon is there, but.
All right, so I'll make a little N right there for the top. So this would be like the North Pole.
Yes, but I think the North Pole is a little bit too much. I think it would be a little bit closer to the dot, right?
Not if we're looking directly top down, but okay.
Well, is America is not way down below, is it? The equator is not where America is, right?
The equator is not where America is, no. But again, I told you this wasn't the scale.
Okay,
Florida is close.
So therefore, the north should be a little bit closer to the dot, right? To be correct.
Does that satisfy you?
Yes. That's far enough.
Good. I'm bringing this back to black.
Okay.
Back to black.
And then above should be east, I think, and west on the other side. You place west and east.
Okay. All right. If this is north and we're right here, then that's going to make. So what I'm going to have to do is this. I'll make this in yellow. So I'll make 2 lines that represent which direction that you will go. These are poorly drawn, of course.
Yeah.
All right. And so.
Yeah.
And so this one is going to be east. And this side is going to be west.
Okay. Okay.
You're not going to try to make me label south now, are you? Because that's going to be a
yes. No, I won't.
Okay. What's the point of this?
So the balloon is released, and say it is noon. Where would the sun be? According to the east-west situation.
Assuming it's equinox, or
yes,
assuming
you can draw it up to scale, because
I don't want to draw up to scale.
No.
All right, I'm just going to assume Tropic of Cancer and say that it's more or less directly above.
Okay, so draw the sun on the other side, a little dot, perhaps, because it is not on to scale.
Not to scale. Let's make the sun red. Actually, we have tools.
Yes, you did it. Good. Okay, so when I release a balloon at noon,
okay,
it takes about 3 hours sometimes, and I've seen a video where it was that was in Italy, and it was made in noon, and I know that noon is not always the highest point of the sun, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that I understand that. When you have a balloon and you have cameras on it, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so those cameras are pointing to the sides, right? To west and east, and usually they turn.
Yeah, because it's a balloon, yes. So
yes,
where are we going with this?
It is twisting. It is all, but it's also because they want to make it level, but they always want to show the curvature, right? And now I want to explain to you how is it that in every balloon flight we see the sun not overhead because we can't see it. We shouldn't be able to see the sun, but it is always to the sides that we see it. And I maybe can give you a reference also for.
Oh, look. Weather balloon.
Yes. Where's the sun?
Sun above it.
No, it's just beside it.
No. See?
Yeah,
there's the balloon. This camera's looking.
Yeah, well, this is lens. This is the lens that's capturing. But afterwards,
and
look.
There's the parachute. Sun is above it.
And wait for it. And this is not a. This is two GoPro thingy, you know.
Yeah, it was filmed with GoPros, and the sun was above it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't above it. It wasn't above.
You want me to go back to the frame?
Go a little bit back.
Sun was above it.
No, it's beside it, but go. You always.
I'm struggling.
Now you're looking up. Listen.
Yeah, I am looking up.
May I? Yes, because this is a picture where you are looking up with the camera, and those are widespread cameras, right?
Okay.
So they will capture the sun. But show the other videos, all of them. The sun is on the side because you look to the sides.
Okay.
And
you
why?
do know that
Why
because
do I see the sun? But
The
show
same-
some other videos. Come on, don't be like this. Only showing that. Be honest. Show me
I won't
videos.
I won't only show you a video of a sun that's clearly above the camera, but I will also answer the question not by showing you more videos, but by actually answering it. Can I?
Can I give you the video? I don't know how I can do that exactly. I need to find it first.
Okay. Regardless if you're actually gonna accept this answer or not, I'll go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Guess
But
what I
will
have in my
this.
possession, Betty? What I have in my possession is a GoPro. Did you know that with the camera looking to the side, that even though it's noon, I can still film the sun with the camera pointed directly to the side? Did you know that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then why in the hell is this a problem then? The sun, of course, is going to be filmed or be filmable from the side on a GoPro because we're looking at a wide angle lens. A wide angle lens positioned in the right way is obviously going to be able to see from the top of the sky all the way to the horizon. And if the camera has to be streaming through one side or another, then of course it's going to capture the sun as a consequence of that. And I can actually demonstrate this right now with my GoPro.
Can I explain another thing then? But you have to explain if you can have a wide angle. Why don't I see the balloon also when I look to the sides?
No, you just did see the balloon.
So when the sun can be overhead in a wide range of space, really wide range of space, because the sun is 39 whatever it is, 93 million miles away, you wouldn't be able to capture that sun.
Because it's never the case that the sun is perfectly overhead.
I know,
you do
but
understand
still,
this, right?
But yes, I understand. But
hang on,
still,
is the
but
balloon?
Still, that is not the same amount of. I think you can do the math. Eventually.
Yeah, I can't do the math, and nothing's going to sit. And here's basically the case. If we're looking at a balloon, the balloon is always going to be perfectly on top of the payload because it is by the balloon that is supporting said payload. The sun is not limited in that way. Not only that, you also have the movement of the payload, which is still not going to come into view because, again, it's from the balloon supporting the payload that that string is attached to. So it's always going to be perfectly above, but the sun isn't. The sun is independent from the balloon. So of course, when you're dealing with a wide angle lens, the balloon can be out of frame while the sun could be in frame, especially when we're dealing with the angles that we're dealing with. And in most places, especially here in North America, even when you're dealing with the sun when it's perfectly over the Tropic of Cancer, you're not going to get the sun perfectly in the middle. I think there's only one place in America where the sun is directly overhead, and that's in Hawaii. In fact, there is a statue or a monument in Hawaii where on every other day, no, Scott, leave me alone. On every other day that the statue or the monument makes an oblong circle, and only on that one day of the year when the sun is perfectly overhead does the shadow it make form into a perfect circle. But everywhere else in North America, the sun is going to be tilted tilted by a certain factor of a degree, or at a certain degree it's going to be tilted. So of course, in some of these shots, you're going to see the sun in view, especially when dealing with a wide angle lens like a GoPro.
I could accept that because the sun could be on a different
angle.
Angle. Yeah.
The word you're looking for is angle.
Yes, thank you. But I don't think, because that sun could be still around where the balloon is.
Mm-hmm.
And the payload is hanging a little on a tether underneath it. It's a long tether usually. And I think if you have that kind of a lens, you would see the balloon as well.
Not necessarily. I can show
well,
you.
I think that all that video that you just made with that GoPro, which made that ball look really ridiculous curved. There you see that that sun was also in the neighborhood. It was not.
What are you actually saying at this point? I'm genuinely lost.
Well, I have a video and a link, but I don't know how I can get it to you.
Explain the objection and what the.
I want you to look at what I saw, because we are talking observations, not tests, by the way. So I don't say that is scientific evidence.
Well, part of the scientific method is observation, so please post the link in the side.
Yes. Well, I don't know where I can do that.
Okay, then send it to me later. But at the same time, though, I need you to explain the objection. What is the actual objection that you're stating here?
I want to see the video. That's what I want to do. Can I? I don't know how to share, of course. I think screen share. I found that thing. Can I put it on?
Yeah, you can screen share anytime you want. I'm not stopping you.
Okay. No, I don't know how it works. So.
Top, you'll see a. If you move your cursor over the Google Hangouts window, you'll see a bunch of options come up on the left side. You're going to click on the green screen that has a white arrow on it. When you click on that, an option is going to come up on which screen, if you have multiple screens, you wish to share. You click the screen you want, and then you click share. And then after that, after you're done, sharing whatever it is you're going to share, you click that screen again, the green screen with the white arrow, and that will deactivate it.
Okay. Screen share, and let's see if I can do this.
All right. While you're doing that, can I show you something real quick?
Well,
let me show you this. This is a payload that I lost. Fuck you, fate. And you can kind of see what I had here. So I had the tether here on the box. I had 2 GoPros in here, and I also had a cheap-ass Kodak camera. So here's the layout of the payload. This thingy right here is the GPS tracker, piece of shit. And here you have a GoPro, here you have another GoPro and stuff like that. So anyway, this is essentially looking at it from directly overhead. If the balloon is right in the center of this, I can't even see the lens from right here. So if I can't even see the lens right here.
So what's the range then? What's the range of that thing?
What do you mean by range? I'm confused.
No, yeah, well, how far can you see? It's pointing to the side, right?
Yeah, it's pointing to the side, and well, how far you can see depends on the resolution of the camera, which in this case was 1080p.
And how high can you see?
Well, it depends on how high it actually got. I don't know the actual height. I told you this is a payload I lost. I lost this shit. Everything you see here, I lost.
Oh wow, that's not good.
Yeah, I didn't. I lost the payload. The only reason I bring this up is not to bring up very bad memories. The reason why I'm bringing this up is to show you that from this viewpoint, I can't even see the lens. But if, however, if we were to imagine that I tilt...
You never know what the results were then.
No, because I never got the cameras back.
Oh, wow.
So if we look at... If we imagine I took this picture from a slightly more skewed over angle, I would actually be able to start seeing the lens. And with GoPros, the rule of thumb is that if you can see the lens, you're usually in the danger zone of getting filmed. And so with that being said, if the sun is in the sky, but let's say it's at its zenith, it's like at, I don't know, 30 degrees off from absolute 90, then you will be able to see the sun when it makes a pass in a certain direction. That's just the way GoPros work, and the obvious consequence of having a super wide angle lens like GoPros are known for having. I heard that they're making one that'll deactivate that. Personally, I think it's a load of shit, but whatever.
Can they record 180 degrees then.
They do have cameras now that can, but unfortunately at the time, I don't know if this one was capable of doing it.
Are those on those balloons?
Some of them, yeah. My camera can just about, I think their recording viewing angle is 165, maybe 170 degrees, so 10 degrees off.
But the average balloon flight, what they
I don't
use?
know about the average.
Right.
No, I'm dead serious. I don't know about the average.
Okay.
And to just give you a little bit more details on how the balloon is always going to remain at TOTD, no matter how much it swings. This is a video I shot of the balloon disappearing into the distance away from me. Bastard. You can see it's swinging back and forth, but notice how the box relative to the balloon is always directly overhead and the box is directly below it, because the balloon is the actual anchor point. But the sun at the time of actually shooting this, as seen by the reflection of the balloon right here, so you can kind of look at it kind of like a crescent, the sun was way the fuck over here. So when this payload swings this way and turns the camera so that it actually is looking in this direction, of course it's going to capture the sun as a consequence of that.
Yes. Well, that's for me a flat Earth with the sun close.
How?
Yes, how? Just the way I say it. Because you see the sun reflecting on that balloon that much. And
what?
Yeah, I don't explain it well. I really would have loved to show you that video that I have. And
well, you're screen sharing now, so you can show whatever.
Okay. Well, I'm screen sharing. Okay. Well,
yes, you are.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Okay. I was put this away. Okay. Look at the time.
Okay.
You saw that, right?
Yep. And we're in Italy, apparently.
Italy, yes.
Okay.
Well, I see. And here, 50 minutes later. Is this all the way on top?
Might be at its zenith, at least right there.
Or yeah, well, it is. I think about here, 1 hour and 50 minutes later, and they departed from 12 o'clock.
Okay.
So they are pointing to the side. And look here, there is our sun. You see it? You see what I'm pointing to? And now it's 40 minutes, or 1:40 after.
All right, what am I looking at? Or what's the objection, I should say, sorry.
Well, I shouldn't be able to see that sun at all. It should be overhead.
Why?
Because I drew you a picture. Or let you draw a picture.
Yeah.
You said where the sun would be at noon, right? Or about noon. And
yeah, but we also
and you see the sun to the side now.
But we also said that this wasn't to scale, nor did it take everything into account. Like, for example,
the scale doesn't help you. That's the point.
No, but the latitude
doesn't help you at all.
But the latitude and longitude does. Betty, question: Where is the sun? Hang on. Where is the sun?
93 miles away.
Hang on. Yeah, I love you answered a question I wasn't going to ask. Wait for me to ask the question, and then you can answer it. Where is the sun rotating above in November? Is it over the Tropic of Cancer, or is it closer to the Tropic of Capricorn?
Well, it is winter in Italy then, in November.
Okay, so that would mean that the sun would be orbiting over a path that is further away.
Yes,
correct?
but it is.
Then that means as a consequence. That means as a consequence of that, Betty, it is going to be closer to the horizon. With that being known, why should you not be able to see the sun in view?
Have you still got that drawing?
Answer my question first, and then I will.
No, I want to demonstrate it. Have you still got that drawing?
Yes, I do. Can you answer my question now?
No, I want to see it. I want to point it out to you.
Oh my fucking God. I'm not going to get an answer to that question, all right?
After I'm trying to explain it to you. That's reasonable, isn't it?
Here is the drawing that we made earlier.
Okay.
Answer my question with this
What
drawing.
was your question?
What was see the?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. I was busy with the explanation that I wanted to give you.
Again,
What's
being that it would be winter in Italy, that would mean that the sun is that the sun at zenith would be closer to the Tropic of Capricorn, not the Tropic of Cancer. Definitely below the equator, right?
Yes.
And so if the sun is below the equator at zenith and Italy is way the fuck above it, that would mean that the sun is going to be closer to the horizon as a consequence of that, even during midday. So why should I not be able to see the sun when it filmed on a wide-angle lens like a GoPro?
Okay, make another underneath, copy paste that same thing, and then we make it a different. Then we can say east to west the other way. Okay. So draw another.
No, I want an answer to this question, Betty.
I want to show it to you. I want to show it because you can't see it if I tell it to you.
Let me
draw. No, don't erase it.
No, because this diagram is fucking retarded. Let me actually draw it out for you.
Oh, no. I was the designer, right, from this experiment.
Yeah, you're the designer, and your designs are flawed. So yes. let me explain my counter. Let me explain my counter to
this. I can't make a point. You wanted to let me make a point, and then you are.
No, you can't make a point. You can answer a question that I asked, and you're trying to make a point after I asked a question.
I want to answer your question, but I want to let you see it. I want to show it to you.
Right. Okay, so let's bring up Italy. So let's say, I don't know the exact latitude and longitude when it comes to scales. So this obviously isn't going to be to scale. So you're just going to have to fucking forgive me for that shit, because honestly, I don't know. So we'll say Italy is right there. We'll say that green thing is Italy.
Yes.
And we will say that the Tropic of Capricorn is way the fuck down here. Tropic of Cancer, let's keep that red. Let's say the Tropic of Cancer is going to be this light green thing, a little bit of a lighter green right here.
Yeah.
So these are the paths that the suns could be taking. The sun is going to be...
But where's north?
Where's
north? Here. Okay.
That's north.
And where's west?
Oh my God.
Draw it in.
Never eat soggy wheat. North, south, east, west. Never eat soggy wheat. That's how you can remember it.
Just draw it in.
I'm not going to label every little thing for you. All right, look at this.
At least
we
north.
Have the sun. We have
north is important.
Illustrated by the line. Moving on. If it were to be the case that the balloon is raising upward. Now, keep in mind, relative to the location it lifted off from, that would mean it would be going up in this direction. Again, not to scale, but you see what I'm talking about. So if it were to be the case that it was launching in this direction, then looking 90 degrees out to the side would be looking out in this direction. That would be going here and here. And since it is the case that the sun is going to be located directly over Capricorn, which is right there, more or less. Actually, let's do this. It would be there we go, a little bit up. So just like that. That means that if we take a look at the viewing angle of the camera, which I will illustrate with green, even if we did the viewing angle a much shallower angle, I think you would agree this isn't 170 or 160 degrees. That's, I don't know, maybe 70 degrees. The sun is all of a suddenly in the viewing angle of the camera. So everything that we saw,
to scale, this thing.
everything that we saw in that video does not debunk a round Earth. Why are you showing me this crap if it's not debunking a flat Earth or confirming a flat Earth?
Listen, why I wanted you to do it my way, because then you had the square around it. It would make it a little bit easier to see, you know. That sun that you drew, that red thing there, is miles further than what you say. Miles further. What, light years further?
Not light years. No, absolutely
light years further.
No, not light years. That's wrong.
Well, 93,000 million miles, whatever.
No, 93 million.
It is further away than that green line which you drew.
Which is why I said this.
You wouldn't be able to see this thing.
Yes, you would.
You wouldn't.
Yes, you would. And how I can demonstrate that? And how I can demonstrate that? And how I can demonstrate that, Betty, is by making this angle, the actual viewing angle, actually 160 degrees. Because if it were to be the case that we were to do this to an accurate 160 degrees, that means the viewing angle would be more like this. So that means the sun could be way the fuck out here, no matter how far away it gets, Betty. Assuming the sun is big enough, you will be able to see it in
and
the
you
frame.
saw my video. And
it doesn't debunk a flat, or
and the sun, we weren't even that
around Earth, and it doesn't confirm a flat.
The sun wasn't even that high when we weren't even at the point where it would pop the balloon. When I screen shared.
Wait a minute, you think it's the sun that pops the balloon?
No. I don't say that. I didn't say that. When the balloon wasn't going to pop just yet, and you saw that sun to the side, and it should be overhead at noon, and also in Capricorn, because of perspective, it is miles away. It's
again
overhead.
Using a word that has no definition is not going to help your case here, Betty.
I know.
And no. If we're talking about Italy in winter, the sun is never going to be directly overhead.
I know.
So of course it's going to be closer to the horizon at that point.
Away that even the light doesn't change accordingly that much, right?
I really don't know what you're referring to at this point.
The rays are coming parallel on the Earth, right?
Rays are coming in parallel to the Earth, yes, but the viewing angle shows the sun itself, because the viewing angle and the position of the sun over the Tropic of Capricorn is that so that it can be within the viewing angle. GoPros have a very wide field of view. You're basically saying that because GoPro has a wide field of view.
Not everybody is using a GoPro, right?
Yeah, not everyone is using a GoPro, but however, everyone will see the sun. Hang on, but still everybody will see the sun at the Tropic of Capricorn during November in Italy. And also, that video was obviously using a fisheye lens.
Of course.
So if you're going to say not everyone is using a GoPro, then show me evidence that supports your case with a video of them not using it.
I didn't before. I said it wasn't empirical evidence. I tried to show you something that it is not possible, for me at least, and that's why people say that the sun appears to be in the vicinity.
Okay,
close.
I'm just gonna say this is not
you made a really fucked up picture like this, and if you would have made it like I would suppose you would have done, it would have made it much more clear. And now all those lines, that doesn't tell me anything, but maybe Kara, say she's good with those models that she can make in that program.
Yeah, she's great at those models, except when they disagree with flat Earth, right?
No, I want her to demonstrate this. I would like that.
Okay, she will. I'll tell you what. I'm pretty sure Kara will be more than happy to demonstrate this and pretty much confirm what I'm showing you rather crudely on the screen right now.
Okay.
But since it's clear that this seeing the sun in frame thing is not going to actually convince me one way or another, and I think it's not convincing anyone in the chat.
Of course, I knew that it wouldn't convince you.
Okay, then let's move on to something that may, and I'm just going to cut the crap right now and ask this of you. As a favor, give me your hardest hitting evidence for a flat Earth. Hardest hitting. I'm talking like, holy shit, why didn't I think of that kind of thing? Give me the most amazing piece of evidence you have to show that the Earth is in fact flat.
Okay, because there can't be a vacuum next to a non-vacuum.
How does that have anything to do with geometry?
That's true. But that makes, for me, that space is off the table. That NASA and all those planets are not there. Quantum mechanics says it all for me.
Betty.
That space-time doesn't exist.
Betty.
That all the gravity that we only need because we are on a ball.
Betty. Here's the thing. I have a ball in my hand right now. It's a tennis ball. I'm putting it on the table. Does it have an atmosphere? No. Has it stopped being a ball? No. Then why the fuck is this a point?
Because I don't see evidence for a spinning ball. That's why. And that's why I said it was a default position for me. Because all the stories that make up around the Earth because of gravity, because you need gravity, an atmosphere next to a non-atmosphere, a vacuum, it doesn't add up. And I can't see propulsion in space as well without any particles or atmosphere there.
Okay, because why?
Because there's no combustion there.
No, there is. There is.
Yes, and I know the explanation.
What is the explanation?
Because of Newton's law, you say. Eh?
No, what is the explanation then? Spell it out for me, please.
The explanations that they usually give is when you are in an office chair and you're pushing a heavy weight from you, you will move the chair.
Why?
And that makes propulsion work. And I say the chair is having a ground underneath it. And if you're doing this in a vacuum and you have no reference point, you can't do it.
Sit in an office chair and throw a ball.
Yes, that's what I usually hear.
That's your explanation. I think that's an example, but that's not an explanation.
Of course not.
Okay, so you said a few things that have absolutely nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Atmosphere right next to a vacuum, not understanding that it's gravity that holds the atmosphere to the Earth. Propulsion in space, I assume you're going down the rhetoric of rockets don't work in space, not understanding that every action has an equal and opposite reaction because, like it or not, gas has mass, and the rocket loses mass as it goes through its cycle of kicking ass and getting
into orbit. What happens when all the mass is in the way? What happens?
But Betty, I'm going to do something really, really amazing. I'm going to give you both of those. A atmosphere can't exist next to a non-vacuum. Rockets definitely don't work in space. I'm just going to give those to you on a silver platter. In fact, not only silver, I'm going to polish that shit to a mirror finish and hand it to you. How does this have anything to do with the Earth being whatever shape it is?
Okay. And then
please explain to me how these things connect.
Can be explained by another definition that you don't want to accept: perspective.
No, it's not a definition I don't want to accept. It's a definition you simply haven't given.
Because there are many different explanations for perspective.
Then define your terms.
That is the perspective that things going smaller in a distance.
All right,
but it can be smaller in a distance, yes.
Okay, so things get smaller as they go away. So that's what you mean by perspective. Now, how does this have anything to do with rockets working in space or an atmosphere, next to a vacuum?
Because if we have no space, then we can't go there. We can't have pictures of around Earth at all.
I already said I will give that to you. Let's hypothetically say there are no pictures from space. Let's say that the Himawari satellite that takes a 11,000 by 11,000 picture of the Earth every 10 goddamn minutes is all fake. Let's say they have mega factories of people who are making intricate CGI that can be used to make accurate positions about the weather patterns in local areas. Let's say all that is fake and that they have an endless amount of resources to put into faking this shit just for you. Let's just say that. I'm going to give you all of that. How does this confirm or deny the shape of the Earth?
That's what I said. You can't prove if it's round or flat. And I say it is a default position to have it flat because the stories that give us on the spinning part.
No, that's
not.
not.
Atmosphere lockstep with
Okay, then I
Earth,
guess this is a good
gravity
way to end it.
fairy tales. Let me finish then. I have a difficulty enough to get it out of my mouth.
Yep.
That's what that makes me believe that scientifically they can't prove that we are on a ball. And what I wanted with this thought experiment, that you can't say it either.
Betty, not only do we have explanations for literally everything that you just brought up, but we also know for a fact that flat Earth is not the default position. The reason why flat Earth is not the default position is because we know for a fact that in order for something to be default, that would be your starting point. If you don't have anything to go on, which means you have nothing to go for or against flat Earth, that doesn't mean you should arbitrarily jump on board the flat Earth train. It means that your actual position, the actual default position, is the we don't know position. Is it flat? Is it round? I have no fucking clue. I am going to withhold adhering to a certain shape of the Earth until I have evidence, good evidence at that, to believe one over the other. That's the actual default position. By you simply jumping on board this flat Earth train, you are essentially jumping the gun without justification, which is why we ask you, can you justify your flat Earth? If you're saying that flat Earth is just what you go with because you have absolutely nothing to go on, then what that means that you don't have any justification to believe flat Earth, which means you actually have nothing to go against the round Earth to begin with.
I say that it is flat because I experience it flat. I've experienced no motion. I see motion in the sky above me. It is a different perspective.
Betty.
And then I see perspective in how the star trails work and how the sun works. And I see all those things a different way. That's what I see.
Yeah.
And I see it just differently than you do.
No.
And because the stories around all the gravity and the focal pendulum and the weighing of mass and the space-time and all those things, I don't need that. Because it's all bunk to me.
Yeah, because you just jumped to the conclusion that's bunk.
Makes all those laws mute.
No, it doesn't. You not understanding them. You not understanding them. And if you're
I can't
saying
explain them. That's
then and not only that, not only do some of the things that you just mentioned, that not only do they not debunk a flat Earth, some of the things you just mentioned, like star trails, for example, actually confirm it. Like the fact we have 2 pole stars.
Yes, I know.
Okay, then explain the pole star conundrum then.
Okay. Perspective, first of all.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, I'm sorry. When you go more to the south, then you can't see the pole star. It dips to the horizon. Okay? Can we agree on that?
You mean Polaris?
Polaris. Yes.
And heading south, correct?
Pole star.
Yes.
When we are heading south, the pole star dips, right? And everything, I don't know if it's clockwise or counterclockwise at the pole star. Doesn't really matter, but it is counterclockwise, I believe. You know?
Okay, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this?
Well, they say the pole star is far, far away, right?
Correct.
But everything revolves around it.
No. We're not saying that things revolve around it.
It rotates around the pole star.
No, we're rotating on our axis. It's not the pole. It's not the other objects rotating.
And I want you to see how the star trails go around the pole stars. Pole star, sorry.
You don't think I have?
Okay, but picture it in your head for a while.
I don't need a picture. I have a picture that I took.
Okay, no. I want you to imagine it so I can explain it to you. Okay? So
while
we're talking about star trails.
Yeah, while you're explaining it, I'm just going to share with everyone a picture I took.
Good. And that's counterclockwise, right?
This way, going this way.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, that pole star of the Polaris will dip down when you go further south.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you hold your hands to the side, just a thought experiment for me, and you are making turns with your arms, little circles.
Okay.
Okay. When you look at one side, you see that you are moving with the clock, and you go to the other side, and you go counterclockwise. Do you see that motion? One you go with the clock, and the other, when you go to look on your other hand, making those circles, goes counterclockwise. Have you got that picture?
Yeah, I'm just confused on what you're actually going with it.
Okay, yeah, okay. But do you get the picture?
Yeah, I got the picture. I'm just confused on where you're going with it.
Okay. Now, and we only see a thing of the sky, so the Polaris will dip down. And then you see the Southern Cross in Australia. And that's also why the Southern Cross turns upside down. Because it makes circles on the other side. And it moves a little bit because I have a reference from a man that has made that observation, that the Southern Cross revolves indeed around sort of a southern pole star. And that Southern Cross is upside down. So it is a perspective thing. And a video of P-Brain explains it much better than I can. But that's how star trails work. If you look at Polaris and you see the star trails and you would transfer your vision from Polaris to the south, you will see it change into another clockwise motion. It's perspective. That's why I can't define the word perspective, because it does different things. It has no one equation like you like to propose.
Actually, it does. It's just that
your explanation does, but not
no.
my explanation.
Isn't it just the case that the flat Earth theory, and I use that word in quotes, is simply a jumbled up mess that its definition has to change in order for it to be consistent?
No.
Actually,
I could say the same thing with the gravity to you and mass.
Which you attempted to do, and let's just say you did a fantastic job.
Yes.
Let me go ahead and show you just how this, whatever you just said, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And also, let me show you how it actually debunks.
Because you can't see it. That's it. You just can't see it. You just don't get over the fence.
Yes, obviously. So, what I have here is a diagram of the flat Earth. So, let's go ahead and go on an imaginary trip. So, the North Pole is not going to be a problem for us. So, we're going to have a star that is right here. And so, yeah, we're going to have a star that's right there. No matter where we are on the planet, if we're here looking directly due north, we will see the star Polaris. If we are right here looking due north, we are going to see the star Polaris. If we're here in Tampa, Florida, the place where clusterfuck happens, we look due north, you're going to see the North Star. If we're here in Russia, you know, after attending Trump's pee-pee party, and we look due north, we will see the North Star. Literally, no matter where you are in the north, if you look directly due north, you will see Polaris. That is a fact. However, the same is also true when you go south of the equator and look due south for Sigmodontanthes. So if I am in the south here and look due south, I am going to see the Southern Cross. If I am here and look due south, I am going to see those same exact stars. If I am here and look due south, I am going to see those exact same stars.
Agreed.
If I am here and look due south, I am going to see those exact same south, or those exact same stars, even though I am looking in completely different directions.
Yes, but not at the same time.
Yes, at the exact same time.
No, because the sun will be, in one case, over Australia, and then the other side is dark. And when you go to South Africa, when it is lit up there, then the other side will not be.
Let's put half of this.
Every country, every continent has its own time frame for the Southern Cross to be there.
Let's put half of this Earth in darkness. So now half of it is gone. Mm-hmm. That little slit right there, just ignore that. That was a mistake. These two arrows right here, in fact, we can add another one right here since it's in the light and point it this way. And we can add one right here from this lamp point and point it this way. We can add another one right here. Oh, wait, let me move that one a little bit lower. There we go. That's what I wanted. Yes! So right there. So literally, we have arrows practically looking in different directions, completely opposite of each other. And
yes.
Yet, if we were to get both observers on a Skype call or a Google Hangout and we ask them, can you see these stars? They are going to say yes, even though on a flat Earth, they would be looking in totally different directions.
At different time, because this is a static thing that you're making now.
So you're saying that
time changes, right?
So you're saying that at one point the Southern Star is going to be here and then it's just going to jump over here?
I don't know how to explain this, but
maybe the fact that it can't be explained should indicate that
I really had a hard time getting around this too, because it is not easy to see for everyone.
Well, no, it's not easy to see because it exists.
Yeah, well, this is not reality, because you don't see the half. It is not half that you see lit all the time. When the sun is over Australia, for example, and it goes away to New Zealand or whatever, I don't know where the sun, the other way, of course. But then things change.
Over the during an observation.
So the sun will have only a spot on it. So it doesn't.
During an observation made at equinox, exactly half of the Earth is in shadow. Exactly half of the Earth is in shadow. And because half of the Earth is in shadow, we can still apply the same exact arrows, the same exact observation points, and come to the same exact conclusion. That all of a sudden we would not only see the Southern Stars in two different locations at the exact same time, but we wouldn't see them rotating at a fixed point in the sky. We would see them traversing across the horizon. We don't see that when we go south of the equator.
I will give you a video again, because I can't explain it. I don't think,
believe it or not, I don't think the video can explain it either.
Well, I don't think you will get it. That's it, because I had a really hard time to.
What I'll get
to see it myself.
Yes.
Even kijken.
I mean, Betty, I can only do so much work for you here. If you're here,
you don't have to work for me. Come on.
If you're here,
okay.
If you're, you know, over here, looking this
Oh,
way,
I'm not looking,
a,
but I'm looking at something else. Sorry.
even if you're on a boat way the hell over here and you're looking this way, the fact of the matter is this: you're going to see stars rotating at a fixed point, as in it does not change its angle to the horizon ever. It's going to stay put right where it is. Yet at the same time, we have an observer on this side of the planet looking this way, and they can see those exact same stars rotating around a fixed point. So you're saying that this fixed point of stars magically jumps from one side of the flat Earth to the other side of the flat Earth.
Can you see my screen here?
Black.
It's black? Okay. I did something wrong, I suppose. How do we get it?
Is this video going to explain this pole star conundrum?
Yes, but I don't think you will get it.
Play it.
Sorry,
let's go ahead and see this.
I had a difficult time getting to it myself. Can you see it now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm seeing it.
Okay. I don't know, will you get a copy strike or not?
Probably not, because this is for we're commenting on it, so it falls under fair use. And if anyone has a problem with that, DMCA me, bitch. See what happens.
Okay. It's on you, you know, because I don't want to make you get you into trouble.
I actually appreciate you asking that.
Okay.
Genuinely, thank you. But
Okay.
nothing's gonna hurt me. Anyway, go. Just
okay.
play whatever it is that we're playing.
This is what you see when you look in the north. And this is the arms bit that I wanted to explain to you. So counterclockwise east, for example, and he goes to the next thing. Okay, look, and then he goes to the other side, and then you see it turn another way. Okay, so first you have to grasp that concept. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, that's not what we actually see. So the
yes, that's what we see. That's what we see with the star.
No, we don't.
Do I get this? Okay. And I will go a little bit further into the video.
Please.
Okay, look. Here's how someone at the pole star sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a little bit
standing at the North Pole.
Yes, of course. And then you see when you would put a camera up, you will have a circular motion. Now he has the salad bar. He said salad bowl. And he will explain it. And then you see those lines where the sun would traverse the circles. And then when you are on this plane, you will see the stars going around that way. And now you see that Polaris is, because of perspective, all the way to the horizon, seeing from this person standing here. And when he looks to the other side, he sees the Southern Cross, and it turns around. That's what happens on a flat Earth.
Okay, which still doesn't answer.
Okay, and then I will show you, look how small.
Hang on, Betty. Before we continue on, let me point out something. Bring it back to that slide right there where it showed. Bring it back to that. Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Where that observer is, if where he is right now is in South America. If he were to look due south, see Polaris, correct?
Yes.
Good. Now, if we were to hypothetically take that observer and move him over India, and he were to look due south, he would also be seen.
Yeah,
yeah. There's two Polarises, or two.
There's only one Polaris. Yes.
No, two Southern Crosses.
Can I explain? Can I go on?
Go ahead. Tell me.
You want to know? Okay. Let's go. He explains it here. Okay, here he explains how it works. Things turn. Okay, but you don't see that. Okay, now he's explaining.
Yeah, we don't see stars traversing across the horizon in the south. So this model is already flawed.
Look at this.
So there's three different Polarises, or
no, this is only one Polaris here in the middle, and there's only one Southern Cross. And you see it due to perspective at the point of when it.
A word with no definition.
Yes. And you see it turning. Look at the things turning.
So okay. So basically, there are multiple
see,
southern
yeah, the
crosses.
sun or the moon, whatever this represents. I think that what.
Yeah. So there's multiple southern crosses.
No. No, of course not. You see,
Okay, so
no, listen. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh because I laugh.
I'm trying not to because this is fucking hilarious.
Yes, because you don't see it and I see it.
No,
And
I see that. No.
yes,
I see something you don't see.
Yes,
I see
I
that.
see what you see. I know what you see because
a
I'm
person is
thought the
looking
same way.
in one direction, and a person looking in the exact opposite direction is looking at the same thing, and you're telling me this makes sense.
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Because you can't grasp the concept that the stars are moving around you.
No, we also agree that
the flat Earth. That's
no. We agree that the stars move in the sky. However, what we don't agree on is that you can see the same thing and be looking in two totally different directions.
Yes, because when it's
how is it
when it's in the middle of the night here
and be looking at two totally different directions? Please explain that to me.
When it is in the middle of the night here, Polaris stays the same, but this angle changes because the stars are moving up over us. So this angle moves that way, so that this one can view it from this way, and then it moves, and then it goes this way. And
the angle would drive the Polaris to their side of the Earth, but if you have multiple observers that are competing over the same angle that are in two opposite directions, how are they able to see the same exact thing in the sky?
Because the stars are moving overhead.
That does not answer the question, Betty.
That makes it a proof that the Earth is flat.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does, because you can't see it.
So not only is this not proof of a flat Earth, this proves that
yes, it is a proof of a flat Earth.
No, what it shows, what this video shows, actually, if you can send this to me, I'm going to share it with everyone because it shows an inherent contradiction with the flat Earth.
No, it doesn't.
And actually, yes, it does. And I actually thank you for showing the inherent contradiction in the flat Earth, even though you did it better than I ever could.
What's the contradiction?
The contradiction is that you can't be looking at one direction to see a thing and then be looking in the exact opposite direction to see that same thing on the horizon. It doesn't happen that way.
Oh man! Listen, I'm not laughing at you, but I laugh at the situation because you can't see it. That's why you can't grasp perspective, and it does.
I can't grasp something that doesn't have a definition. You are completely right about that.
No, I know, because it does different things.
No, it's magic.
Yes, it
magic.
Does. You can't say no.
Magic.
You can say nah. No,
Betty,
magic.
Betty, the only way you can tell me that this does not have an inherent contradiction is to assert magic.
No, this is
magic. Basically, you're telling me this. You're telling me that if I have a spotlight that is to represent the Southern Cross on one end, Betty, by your logic, Betty, I should be able to put, obviously, by your logic, I should be able to put a spotlight on one end of a soccer field representing the Southern Cross. And then I should be able to look at that spotlight and then turn 180 fucking degrees in the exact opposite direction and see that exact same spotlight.
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Listen. Okay. Suppose you have a spotlight here. You see my pointer?
Yes.
So that's the spotlight. And that's you said it was across a field, right?
Yes.
Okay, but that spotlight moves.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does, because in my world,
it doesn't.
Listen to me.
In reality, it doesn't move.
Listen. You can't. If you can't listen, you can't grasp it. If you don't want to
grasp something that doesn't happen in reality. You're telling me that the
Your
spotlight
reality
moves.
is
It
different than
doesn't.
my reality. That's what I'm
No,
trying to explain.
no. First of all, we both
Oh my God.
exist in the same reality.
my God.
You could go to the south. You can go to anywhere in the south. Have a telescope that does not move, and the Southern Cross will never exit your field of view, ever exit your field of view. That means for every location south of the equator, it is going to stay in the same part of the sky. So on a flat Earth, that shows an inherent contradiction, because if I'm on one side, since the spot is obviously not going to move for you, why the fuck should it move for me? So I should be able to not see it, but I do. So I'm seeing the same thing in two different spots, looking in two separate directions. Hence contradiction.
When you're in a field, you're on a square field, or let's say a round field. This is that spotlight. That spotlight is overhead, okay? That spotlight is overhead. And it moves, in my worldview, the stars move, remember? Not we don't move, the stars move. So that spotlight is a star. It moves overhead. And time goes by, and then this observer will have that spotlight, but it is the same spotlight that one observed here. How can you not see that?
Because the spotlight doesn't move. I just said that.
Yes,
no,
the spotlight does move, because my world, the stars move.
No, in your world, Betty, if you and I both went anywhere south of the equator,
and this
your
is why
world
we never
would not hang on. Because if both you and me went south of the equator, what we would see would not comport with what you're showing me. So in your reality and in my reality, the flat Earth has been deemed to be bullshit, and you're showing it to me yourself.
You can say that, but it is not true.
No, it is true. In fact, I will make that bet with you now.
No, it's not true.
No, it is. It is. I will make that bet with you right now if you want to. Because if you and I both go south of the equator, no matter where we go south of the equator, you will see that Southern Cross will never move from its position in the sky.
And that's what I'm saying, because here is Polaris, there is the Southern Cross, and the Southern Cross is not the Sigma Octantis, by the way. And you see that cross, because I will set it in motion again, and you see it turning at one point.
Yeah, and I see four different lights.
Okay, well, I will screen share another that I have. Oh no, I have to find it. Sorry. Southern. Oh, how do I? Southern Cross.
Okay, all right. Let me make this very, very clear. I'm talking about two concurrent observations, as in both observations made at the exact same time, but looking in completely different directions.
Yes, but I will show you first. I will show you first.
So if I'm looking,
I show you first what the cross does. Okay.
I already know what the cross does.
Okay, but I will show you anyway. This man says that when he is in Australia at 6 a.m., he sees it from this perspective. And he explains it in this video. I will link you, give you the link as well. And then he says it is upside down on the other side on 6 p.m. later. Okay.
In the same part of the sky?
Well, he thinks he's on a ball, obviously.
No. Is it in the same part of the sky?
No, it is a little bit. It has a little bit moved a little bit.
But did he have to move his camera to see it?
I don't know if I don't want to copy strike this as well, because I don't know who made this one. I don't think he will say it here. He says he has the angles that he states.
All right, guys, I'm going to take this moment to once again advise you to donate to Gus if you're enjoying the clusterfuck, because that's what it is at this point. Please donate to Gus. It's for a good cause.
Please, people, be generous.
He's hang on, I'm trying to help a guy out. There's a link in the description of this hangout that you can click on. Please go donate to my buddy Gus. He's dealing with some life-altering shit at the moment, and it would be really nice if we could get him some funds so he could not deal with that shit anymore. Again, tell him that Red sent you so that I could rub it in his fucking face afterwards, because that's just the kind of friend I am. So with that, there we go.
It's established. Okay, I think I went over it, but it takes too long to find.
I still don't know what you're showing me here.
Well, that man says something about that cross being in a different position, and that comports with what I was telling you about.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't. No, it
only
doesn't.
You can't grasp the idea.
No, you can't grasp how it doesn't. Here's the thing. Maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe the problem is you. Try accepting that possibility.
No, because I came from your world and I know already how that works.
Okay, so you used to. Hey, listen. No. Just because you accepted the round Earth on faith doesn't make your shit any better, okay? I'm not accepting the round Earth on faith. I will admit at one point I did. I had faith that the scientists weren't completely bullshitting me. And guess what? After doing my own observations, I confirmed that they weren't bullshitting me. So I came from round Earth right back to round Earth, because that's what comports with reality. That's what comports with every single observation you can possibly make. What I don't see is anywhere in reality where I can look at an object, turn 180 degrees and in a different direction and see that same object again. Again, I'm talking about two congruent observations. We do not see this. This is the pole star conundrum.
We don't see this, no. Because you don't see it but you don't see it at the same time. That's the key. The time and not time. Is your response.
No, I already got you on that one, because I did because I said two congruent observations. That means the observations are happening at the same time. Don't try to get away from that.
No,
don't try to get away from that.
Listen,
I said that you would be able to see them at the exact same time.
Listen, those continents lie on different directions. You could agree on that, right? So the time differences between this, and this is far away on a flat Earth. And when this goes, the stars go overhead, and it goes counterclockwise, I believe, this way, or whatever. And then we have these viewpoints. That's what I'm trying to explain. And you will never get it because you cannot go there. You simply can't go there.
Actually,
because
I don't.
You don't want to go there, obviously.
No. Hey, Betty, I'll make this deal. If you pay for the plane ticket, I will go there tomorrow. But the fact is that I don't have to go there, because guess what? We have this wonderful thing called internet, and we have another wonderful thing called friends all over the place. And we can ask them what they see, being that they're south of the equator. I have a gentleman by name of Gert James. He lives in Cape Town, South Africa. I also have a good friend called Daz the Cameraman, and I believe he lives in New Zealand. And not only can I go to these people and ask them, I can also go to my good friend Bash Prompts, who lives in Australia, and I can ask him what he sees. And guess what? When I ask all these people, like, for example, I think we would agree that Australia and South Africa can both be on the night side of the planet, especially during equinox. I can ask them both to look due south and tell me what they see. And even though on a flat Earth, they're looking in two totally different directions at the exact same time, because we're all on a Google Hangout doing this, they're seeing the exact same stars, even though they're looking in different directions. That is an inherent contradiction with the flat Earth.
They're looking south, right?
Yes, they're looking south, but on a flat Earth, south would be in all directions. That means that it wouldn't matter if you're looking this way, if you're looking that way, you're looking south. But the point is, you're still looking pretty much the exact opposite direction, at least 190 degrees off. How does that make any sense when it comes to reality? It doesn't. It doesn't match what we see.
It doesn't match what you can see.
No, it doesn't match what we see, period. As in, there is nothing that you can take in reality that would confirm this crap that you're showing me now.
And you call it crap, and I call it reality.
I call it crap because that's what it actually is.
Well,
I call
let's agree to disagree. This is what I
Okay.
found out only this week, and which well gave me really an aha moment, because I didn't get it at first, because you have to get into it. He shows it in a complete longer video, also with press.
Okay.
Those
just
rays,
going
how
to.
do you call them?
All right, listen. I'm just going to just assume that maybe you're just explaining this terribly, and I'm just going to ask you to send me the link so I can look at it. And
I will.
Okay. If I see fit to wipe my ass with it later, then I'll wipe my ass with it later. And I'm also going to tell other people I'm going to ask Kara to make a detailed animation of this on the flat Earth and on the round Earth, and I'm actually willing to pay her for this. So Kara, if you're watching this, which I assume you are, please go ahead and make 2 separate models and find out which one best comports with reality for me, and give me your synopsis of what exactly you have found.
Be the reality.
And hang on. And on top of this, I just want to end on one thing. Because we've already been doing this for 3 hours, and quite frankly, we need to get to the after show.
1 o'clock in here, so that's
yeah.
okay.
So we're gonna wrap this up first, but I want to at least agree on one thing, and that is that you can go ahead and take on the flat Earth position. I am going to stick with the round Earth position, but can we at least agree that the flat Earth is not the default position? That a default position would actually be the I don't know position, being that you have absolutely nothing to go on.
Okay.
Okay. Can we agree on that at least?
Yeah. Well, now I have had this, because I checked this out this week, and now I have this. I have more for me that will say that the Earth is flat, because I couldn't explain some of those observations as well. Because what you said. And now they are explained to me, so I can say that I am now a flat earther completely.
Okay, that's fine. But going back to the original thing that we can end on, will you at least agree that the flat Earth is not the default position? It is a position you actually have to accept after giving it some thought.
Well, no, I think you can see it as a default because you see no evidence on the contrary.
Did you remember
I live in you hang out with
evidence of the contrary?
Dutch people in there. The Netherlands is pretty flat, so.
Yeah, so is Florida, where I'm from. Welcome to the club. The thing is that while I agree that evidence of absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, that's also not a tool to be used for confirming an assertion. Again, just because I don't have anything to necessarily go against whatever it is you're showing me doesn't mean I have any reason to accept it as well. So by that logic, it goes right back to what the default position should be. If you have absolutely nothing to go on, as in nothing whatsoever, then hopping aboard any train, whether for or against flat Earth or for or against round Earth, you're essentially jumping the gun. And jumping the gun is not a valid way to go about finding out what is really going on in reality.
With your kind of logic, I would go to court when I'm convicted or alleged convicted for a crime. Then I would have to point out another murderer, another perpetrator, before exonerating myself.
No.
Yes.
No, that's not how.
And
okay, I don't know. Well, then I'm glad I don't live where you live, because your laws are fucked up in that case.
I could not that I have the ability and the acumen and all that stuff to really convey the message that John Quantum Eraser could really do.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Listen. You are talking over me now. But now I lost the train of thought. Well,
I was just going to say, once Quantum Eraser actually grows a pair and talks to me, I'll be more than happy to bring him up again. But at the same time, he has pretty much demonstrated to me that he's not willing to have the conversation. So of course he always thinks he's right because he's not willing to have a conversation with people who can show him that he's wrong.
Well, he wants to have a conversation with a lot of people when they don't want to have the conversation. So that's
I guess I'm the exception. So tell Quantum Eraser that I am extending an invite to him so we can actually have said conversation, because when it came to me bringing up the debate challenge, it was him running away.
And you call it running away, and I think that he will have his own reasons.
Yeah, he will have his own reasons.
Because if I knew that you were making fun of me in the Hangout before, then I would have had second thoughts as well, you know, because that was not nice. It's not something that you would do according to my standards and rules that I.
Is this the part where I say Quantum Eraser should grow thicker skin? Just because I use the word fuck every now and then doesn't necessarily mean he needs to tuck his tail and flee.
Well, it is not a nice way to speak to people, and I think you cannot accuse me of using those words ever.
And that
people, I never use those languages.
And this is coming from somebody who subscribes to Quantum Eraser, who, to the best of my knowledge, I know has subscribed to Flat Earth Asshole.
So that's the name of the channel. That's the name of the channel. How can he control some name that people use?
Oh, you think the name is the only place that has profanity? Oh, that's adorable. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead.
Listen, I listen to you as well on the Hangouts. That doesn't mean that I like the way you talk, but it is not necessary for you to have a Hangout before I come on to the Hangout and to poison the well on me again.
Betty,
already.
The point of that Hangout was that I was bored. I said it at the very beginning, Betty. I said it at the very beginning. And keep in mind, it's not like we're going into this cold turkey. I have experience with you. I know what paths you came in from. Yeah, you commented on my channel.
Yes. And what did I say?
Pretty much that the Earth was flat and that flat Earth was the default position, even though it isn't the default position.
Yes, because I don't have to believe in a spinning ball when I see that it is made up by a just so storytelling physics explanation, equations, and all that. That's why I say that I'm saying that it's default. I didn't have the explanations and I still don't have all the explanations for the flat Earth because
you don't have, as far as I've seen, you don't have any explanations.
Because you don't see it. That's why. And that's
I see them for what, Betty. I need you to understand.
Different.
I see them for what they are. Your explanations don't actually explain anything. I'm sorry that you're not seeing it, but they don't actually explain anything. You're essentially telling me that because you don't understand the complicated mathematics, because you don't see how
mathematics has nothing to do with reality.
That's false.
That's not false.
Actually, it is demonstrably false. And so you'll actually see me using that word a lot, demonstrably. You want to know why? Because you can verify it yourself.
Demonstrate it. No, because you have to have, first of all, the observations and the testing going on. And a lot of those things that you are presented me with were not with a hypothesis that was tested rigorously.
No, that's exactly what it was. It was an observation.
Doesn't comport to reality.
No, they do, because guess what? Those observations came from reality.
Well, I have $1 million on the bank, but I don't have them. It's just a number. It doesn't say anything.
Yeah, except here's the thing. Your example is flawed because my mathematics actually refer to actual variables that I have gathered myself. They refer to variables that are actually there.
And the
You can
variables
assign
change.
you can assign a number to a concept. However, I'm not assigning numbers to concepts. I'm assigning numbers to what reality itself has presented it to me. This is the flaw that you and Jism make when you make that pathetic example.
Yes, well, math doesn't cause anything. Right?
No,
it only
is how we figure out what's going to happen.
No,
Math is how we figure out what is actually the case.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
because
yes, absolutely.
When you have, for example, and I don't know the math on it, but big G is supposed to be a constant, right?
Big G is a constant.
Yes. Well, you should go back to all old school books where there is different numbers spoken of. And there is a video of Rupert Sheldrake, and you will get a copy strike, I suppose, if I would bring it up, so I don't. But he explains how 10 dogmas that there are, and he explains how the speed of light has changed over the course of a couple of years. And you base also on the radius of the Earth. How did you come by that? That's also something that we didn't talk about, by the way. But that is something that is absurd, because you cannot go about it. You have to assume something first, and that's why I did the thought experiment, because you cannot measure things that are in space. You can't measure it. You have to have a couple of known points. Right?
Yeah, it's good that you keep saying that we can't. It's good that you've already predetermined that we can't, even though we've demonstrated that we can and have and will do again in the future.
That's what you have.
No, we have observations, Betty. Because you don't understand what observations have made and how we have gone about making those observations. That does not mean that the facts that we have figured out from reality, based on those clear, demonstrable observations that you can repeat yourself, are flawed. Basically, this is the case that we're coming up to here. You simply assert that because the number of big G has changed, I don't know, maybe the fact that it's gotten more accurate over the centuries, not that it's changed, not that we have found some monumental thing. It's changed by, what was it? I think the original number was within 1% of the value that is accepted today, which was found in the original Cavendish experiment. And it is accurate. Because it is. And the reason why we were able to get it so close to the original is because we actually knew the shit that we were doing. Go figure, right?
Yes. Now when we're talking to math, you're getting mad.
No. When you are spouting demonstrably flawed crap and asserting it as being true,
real that those constants are constants.
No, those constants are constants, and that is why we're able to take them and make valid observations and utilize them to put spacecraft in orbit and fly something past Pluto.
So I make an equations and then I make the observation. That's a different story now. I thought we first made the observation, then made the tests, and then describe it in math. But
or it could be the case that that's what I've been saying the entire time, and you just asserted something that I didn't. Interesting. Is that the flat Earth method?
No, go back.
No, it's not. Then don't do it. Then
rewind, and you will see that you.
Okay, hey Betty. You know that $1 million that you don't have?
Yeah.
How much of that do you want to bet that I didn't say what you just asserted I did?
Listen, I don't give a shit about it.
You don't exactly. See what I mean?
No.
Apparently, memory is also not your strong suit, as it is another strength of mine.
Listen, I don't believe in math causing anything.
Math doesn't cause anything. No one has said that. Math is how we figure shit out.
So it doesn't comport to reality. It only describes.
Math is how we figured out. Math is how we figure out shit that has already been caused. Like, for example, math is not. Hang on. Math is not going to cause an object to explode and fling debris in a certain area. Math, however, can explain what would happen after the explosion has happened. I can use math to calculate how far a certain object is going to fly given the amount of energy in that explosion. Math didn't cause the explosion, but math can sure as shit figure shit out about it. And that's exactly what math does. And is with that information, we're able to make the conclusions that we have, which has allowed us to put shit in orbit. Math didn't put that shit into orbit. A big fucking rocket did. But how we figured out how to make that rocket do the shit it does awesomely is because of the mathematics that are behind it. That's what math is for. Math doesn't cause shit. No one ever said that. Stop strawmanning the ever-living fuck out of people. And math is about figuring shit out so that the objects in reality can do the actual work.
Then we have to stick with the observations, and then we have to have a dependent and independent variable to manipulate the cause, independent variable, the cause. And if you can't isolate the independent variable, then you have no experiment and you have no accurate math to go with it.
Literally everything you just said was gibberish.
Yes, I know, because you don't know the scientific method.
I know that observation is part of the scientific method, which you're saying is not for some reason.
And then it is a hypothesis and testing a hypothesis, and it is with an independent and a dependent variable.
Wait a minute, you're saying wait a minute, repeat what you just said?
Oh my God. A dependent and an independent variable. My God, I thought in the hangout with Steve you would come to this. Would have come to this.
No. I think what you just said is that you make a hypothesis after your observations or whatever the case. I think the way it's supposed to go is...
You observe a phenomenon. You observe a phenomenon. That's the first step. It has to be something observed, something that you see.
Okay, I've observed the fact that the sun does not change in angular size throughout the day.
Okay.
And guess what? I have also tested the law of perspective. And I have said, okay, this car...
now I want to know the law of perspective. I want to know the law of perspective.
And now I'm muting you. I'm not going to be interrupted here. So I was able to confirm that the sun does not change in angular size throughout the day. I was also able to confirm the mathematics of the law of perspective in that the values I got on paper match the values I get in reality. So for example, if I measure the distance to a car and I measure its angular size as it appears to me, I can figure out the size of that car. And on paper, the size came out to about 6.5 feet wide. I go to the car itself and measure it. What do you know? It came out to 6.5 feet wide. Let's test this formula alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r one more time. Let's turn the car sideways and let's go at a different distance this time. So we measure the distance, we measure the angular size, and we say, okay, then by those two things, the car should be this big. So we go to the car and we measure it, and what we got as an answer on paper via the mathematics, we get in reality. So therefore, the law of perspective, alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r, comports with reality, which means we can use it as sort of as to piggyback our conclusion. So that means that we have observed that the sun changes in angular size throughout the day. We know how much distance from the object will affect the angular size. Now we can apply that to the assertion that flat earthers make about this bullshit. And when we do, we find that the numbers do not agree with the flat earth model. Therefore, conclusion, based on the mathematics that we have observed in reality, based on the observations that we have made in reality, that in reality, some shit is fucked up here, which means in reality, your shit is fucked up here, which means in reality, the shit that's fucked up is the flat earth, since that was the shit you were putting on the table to begin with. Need I explain it again?
Okay, so you made an observation with a car, but you can test that car.
We're done here.
Can you test the sun? Can you manipulate the sun?
I can see its size. Its size, not what the sun is, not what the sun does. Its size.
And you don't know what the sun is, and there are too many independent variables, so you can't.
We're done here. We're done.
Yes.
We're done.
I know.
Betty,
because you don't know the scientific method. That's why we don't.
Sure, that's what it is. That's totally what it is. Betty, say what you got to say. I'm going to give you the final word. Just say what you got to say, and this debate's over.
Okay, because it's 1 o'clock in here, so I'm going to look at the stars now.
You do that.
But hey, thank you for doing this debate, and I didn't run away, and I thought there would be some questions from the audience to it, but we went 3 hours, so let's establish that I didn't want to run away from that as well. So I think that we have different perspectives, again that word, in a different meaning, on how we view this world. And if you can't step up or on the other side, you can't see it. And flat earthers can see the other side. And that's the whole idea about it. And you can put us in a corner and it's all right. And I've been in many corners and I've been ridiculed and I don't care really what anybody thinks or says. But I think that it should be possible to be civil to one another. And we all have values and we all have capabilities. And it doesn't mean that people are stupid or whatever. And because I don't view the world because, as you do, I don't think that I'm a stupid flat earther or something like that. And I know you will have an after hangout, and I will get much more opposition and attacked on my views and all that stuff. That's okay, and I don't care. But I thank you nonetheless, and I didn't run away this time. I'm done.
Good. All right. With that hangout over, after show will be on my channel in about 15 minutes. I need to go take a leak first. So with that, I am going to end this broadcast right now.